So again, plenty of play styles to think about right now. They ban out the Hirara here, actually. Hong Kong, China, the Fanny gets taken out as well. And that means all of it that we just mentioned, Barats, Uranus, the Paquito are up for grabs. And, Gideon, Paquito, we've seen it more in the jungle in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm. Well, even in Malaysia, we've seen it a lot show up in the jungle. And here's my big worry. My big worry is that gold laners don't know how to play the fighters, so it has to go into the jungle. And I don't know between the Republic of Korea and Hong Kong, China right now, but at the very bare minimum, they have enough information to say about each other that Hirara and as well as Fanny needs to get banned out, which I'm all for. I am all for that. Let's see whether or not the Paquito gets banned out here or whether there's a bigger priority. I think let's not forget that they are on the red side. Paquito gets banned out. And right now, it just seems very clear that either I've seen three different openings. It's either they go straight away into the Melissa, straight away into the Uranus, or straight away into a Barats of some sort, trying to set up for blue 2 and 3. But so far, they go for the Melissa. Belleric still open. Should be pretty straightforward.
Wonder if they want to go for the Belleric and the Eudora, try to pick up the Barats for red 3, or if they want to go a different route, right? Because like when the Melissa gets opened up like this, usually you want to just secure a Claude pick straight up. You don't want to really wait for red 3 because that's where Republic of Korea could really start to force that error, force some of those picks. They go for the Uranus and the Belleric. Okay. Trying to deal with that Barats early, but this opens up an Esmeralda to get tempo over the Uranus, and it kind of forces them to pick that Claude in red 3 or pick up a jungler and leave that counter to the Melissa to be banned down in the second phase.
Yeah. There's some deep relationships with some of these heroes, right? If Malicious shows up, your general counters, yes, as per mentioned, is going to be Claude in this particular case, because unfortunately, you need sort of an EXP layer or maybe even
have a tough time really trying to find a Novaria. You have to get past all the turrets. That's one. If you win the early game, if you lose out, bro, we just saw this yesterday. Even in Indonesia, this composition with Novaria just steamrolled everybody, but they go for the Selena, it seems. So still trying to go for that speed around those neutral objectives. Selena, Nolan, can they blitz through the neutral objective is the question.
Yeah, blitz the neutral objectives, maybe steal away 1 or 2 camps away from potentially the scaling jungler. And I think this is a good idea because from Hong Kong China's POV, they see two major junglers that scale get banned out, and there also happen to be the direct counters to the Novaria. So now the Novaria becomes a lot safer to play. They still get a scaling jungler, but at this stage of the game now, Hong Kong China has to play for this Brody lane, right? I mean, Uranus is always going to be good, but it really depends on whether they want to fight for neutral objectives, and that depends on whether number one, Little Wanderer is going to get contested for the state of the mid lane, because as much as Novaria can clear waves fast, eventually it will come to a point where Gatlet has to just block the shots so that they can get tempo back.
That'll be the big question right now, man. We've seen so much. One thing's for sure, Hong Kong China's got so much vision in their lineup. My goodness. Wolf on the Eastern Shin with a Mountain Shocker, Insta Vision. That'll give Novaria easy access to land these Astral Echoes. And with these bigger hitboxes, Uranus Beleric, dude, the amount of pressure they have on the map is quite ridiculous. But it's all if everything goes to plan in the early game. Republic of Korea, they have a lineup that can stagger that early game composition for Hong Kong China, stop that snowball from happening from the Brody, and they could actually be the ones to dictate the pace of the game with the Selena and the Nolan, with a very safe Melissa in the back that should be pretty safe. It really comes down to how clear lanes against Kingston. But here we go. Game number 1 into the Land of Dawn for game number 1. Korea versus Hong Kong China in the East Asia Grand Finals qualifiers.
All right, things are going to get exciting, and it's going to happen really, really fast. If one of these teams get a snowball, it's really hard to stop overall. We're going to be seeing, different sides of the map being strong and weak, but honestly, right now, pretty volatile. The only thing that we know is that Everyday Kisses is going to have a pretty good time against this Barat as long as he maintains control over this lane. Barat, unfortunately, just doesn't have the sustain, didn't go for Concussive Blast as well, made sure to take Brave Smite, actually, so that the damage that's being dished out by Uranus is not going to be as taxing once they start walking outside of the lane. Man, Gaon doing a pretty good job getting these trades.
I think just the Panda thing, dude. He knows how to utilize Selena players, man. For some reason, it's always him with the Selena Abyssal Arrow. Doesn't land. Close to landing Moon Love You. That would have probably baited out the Ian, putting that pressure down on Wolf, as we mentioned. With the mid-prio, there's always something that you have to be careful about, right? You gotta help your Yisun Chin to get everything in the jungle. And so far, so good. Gara is up top as well, not really getting bullied as we expected against the Uranus. He's playing it so well. The safe game up top on the Barats. And this is where it gets tough for the Uranus to control that XP crowd.
Yeah, we don't see exactly what emblem sets they're actually running. Not sure if Everyday Kids is going for Tenacity, the traditional ones, or something like Wilderness Blessing for the extra movement speed. But now First Blood might be achieved, regenerate through with the help of Revitalize. Moon is able to survive this. GZG's Wolf, his very own Wolf, is trying to get First Blood. Can't seem to find it as the Revitalize returned from Leon is too much to handle, so finds First Blood.
The Gato catch-up passive. Maybe it's because we just haven't been seeing too many Gato catches, but a lot of people have been miscalculating against the Gato, diving him even under turret. This time it was in the enemy jungle. I think for Wolf, he just felt like he blew too many resources. He needed to get something back, but it actually turned around, and it's a kill over to Soul with the Revitalize already spent on Moon Love You. So it's just tough for them to now control the neutral objective. It also gives Soul to go back into the purple buff some time to, big chomp into Moon Love You, into the Fracture. They get the AoE stun, but Everyday Kiss is still able to get away. It's just Moon Love You with the lack of Revitalize to go down.
Clean and decisive from Team Korea. They've done a good job around this neutral objective, but they've lost their major team fight tools. And now I think they're just playing for level 4s, right? Wait until Leon is able to hit level 4, then you have access to AOG to contest these neutral objectives, and you can actually give Hong Kong China first position over it. But since they've given up the space, more than likely they're going to rush it down and blitz it. And there's Turtle for the hands of Team Korea.
So, task number 1 done. That is mission success for Team Korea. They need to get that neutral objective early. They need to now start rotating into that Brody lane, but they're waiting in the bush, something that they've done really well over the course of the last few minutes. A stun, a taunt coming down with the Abyssal Arrow. That's a Wrath try to lock him down. Ian still has the AOG, but he gets taken out before he can even use it. Unfortunate there. Wolf finally able to get a kill on board.
A little unlucky there, but unfortunately for Claire, taking a pretty bad trade against Kinson at this stage of the game. Now he's got one hell of a freeze, a perfect freeze, in a matter of fact, right underneath his turret. I'm not sure if he wants to keep this up, especially against a Melissa, and because a majority of his teammates are actually on the top side of the map. But we'll find out in just a little bit, because it's going to take 68 seconds until the turtle actually spawns. For now, Kingston, he's kind of setting himself up to get dove underneath the turret.
Doesn't look like they're just going to go for it. AOG still available as well, but Kinson, wow, actually outtrades Claire despite everybody rotating down below. I think it was just a missed Abyssal Arrow that gave him the opportunity to walk up. Good deny by Garez. And it's back to the slow game. Guangzhou Gaming, a Wolf from Guangzhou Gaming experience here is going to be very, very good for him. You know, utilizing that experience, trying to take it away. And again, rotating into the top side to take this Barats out of play every single time. This time, before the neutral objective even spawns in, the killing spree proc for Wolf. And the XP crab given an everyday kiss.
All right, Garrus is going to lose a little bit of stacks here, which is a little sad because there's 20 seconds until the next turtle actually spawns. And as you can see, the Team Korea already has first position over it. For the next 12 seconds, I don't know whether they want to hold on to this position, but at the very least, since they know for a fact that Yi Shin was last seen topside, they take the purple buff. They know exactly how this is going to start playing out based on jungle pathing. Now it's about zoning their opponents. They're going to try and rush this down, and they've got plenty of damage to do so. Second turtle into the hands of Team Korea.
No retribution needed. See, hey, Korea are playing better than some MPL teams. I'll just give you that. AOG to the back. Hinson is able to flicker out. They know how to punish after getting vision on the map. We really thought it was going to be Hong Kong, China with the advantage on vision. But so far, it's actually just been Korea utilizing those fast clearing picks that they got, the Selena and the Nolan, to take camps away. So again, squeeze every little advantage out from Hong Kong, China's composition. Wolf, every time he shows up on the map, he's always going to be punished. No tempo given for free.
They're making sure that at least whenever something happens in their lanes, they're converting it into something bigger. And I think right now, Hong Kong, they're making sure that, yes, they've got a bit of tempo, but I got to say that the defense coming in from Kinson has been great. He's been denying a lot of opportunities from Team Korea. I would imagine that Team Korea should have dove him a couple of times, but Claire just isn't strong enough. And I think if they drag out this laning phase, that's the whole purpose, just to scale for the later half of the game. Neutral objective takes, though. At least we're seeing that Nolan and Barats are working together on the opposite side. They've decided to divide and conquer.
This is the point of the game where, like you said, it's just all about giving space to Claire. You don't really need to get the kill on the Brody. That's just a bonus at this point of the game. For the most part, you just want to give Claire space to farm. Don't let the Brody bully you and continue to do this. Get that mid-prio. Rotate over, so with a jump as well, with the fracture coming down, and the Abyssal Arrow, time to perfection. Great Wrath on the drive, but Kinson hesitates to jump in for the kiss. That corrosion strike. Kinson hesitating, and that gives So space to get out, space to go back into the jungle after the steal on the purple buff. That makes it even more difficult for Wolf to scale up now.
Yeah, it's harder. Now the dive finally connects. A perfect combination. AOG, Abyssal Arrow, and Claire for the assist at the very end. Now with Tier 1 already destroyed, the composition is about to come online. They can take neutral objectives, no problem, but eventually it's really just built around making sure that Muddles is going to get untouched, right? You throw Muddles out, you hit a turret, it hurts your opponents, that's a bonus. Whenever you're doing neutral objectives, same exact thing. Take that mid-wave, walk up, everyday kiss, throw Muddles at him, start auto-attacking the turtle, and you get free harassment. But they also control the tempo. So if Hong Kong decide to get a little extra feisty for this turtle, they can just back away and reset.
And with the Melissa, they can poke for days as well. Oh, great miss. Oh, with the chomp as well. Big chomp down with the flicker. Finds Kinson behind Moon. Love you. My God, they are clean. Korea playing one hell of a game of MLBB.
They're keeping it clean, and I like it. I like it for now, but do they know how to close out these games and turn this composition into a living nightmare for China? At this stage now, moving to the top side, you can see that Claire, the main force, the bullet, the loaded gun himself, ready to actually start destroying these structures like they're nothing. Oh, okay. They're going to start this engagement onto Garrus' side. It looks like Garrus will not be able to get out in time, has no access to his ultimate for the anti-CC, but this does mean that Claire will have tempo on top side to take another tier 1. Hong Kong willing to trade a body for a turret.
He's got to pay for his sins, bro. I mean, that was just 30 right there, right? The Detonus welcome into the flicker, right past Moon Love You into Kinson. Again, a big part of what we were talking about in the draft would be Kinson should be safe behind these tanky boys up front. Not if Garen's got the mechanics to pull off the barrage like that, though. So he dies, it's okay, but nothing is given for free. Good Star Shatter over on Claire. They're able to pop that tier 1 up top, and this gives them even more room to play with. Something that Selena does extremely well in the games that she's doing well on, or has more pressure on turrets on, is the fact that he can just put these traps deeper in the enemy jungle. So it reveals them, it gives them, the rest of the team, even more pressure, even more space to farm, and this is just double good. Triple good, maybe, for Mr. Claire. He's already going in. That's a mountain shot going to land on. So even on the turret, finding the kill spree. Gallon trying to go for the trade out right now. The AOG doesn't land. Wolf, sneaky little invade to find the pick, but nothing again is given for free. It's Claire who's able to trade a tier 2 down below for a non-shutdown kill on So.
And at the very least, they made sure that they defended their mid lanes and did not trade a turret. But on top side, at least at the bare minimum, China is able to get something back and turn it into something else. Good conversion so far. They turned a 3K lead, 3K deficit technically for China, to now boiling it over a 1K 500, right? They're not too far behind, and both junglers are about to hit level 15 after the next full clears. Conceal's already out. Everyday Kiss is able to take the damage for the time being. He has nothing to worry about. But now, without his Purify, and more importantly, while Garrus does still have the Detonus welcome, he could be a potential target.
For sure. It comes down to the poke now. For Korea, Abyssal Arrow doesn't land, but these muddles have just been doing so much damage. Pushing them back. No Purify on Everyday Kiss means that it's going to be actually free for Garrus to go even for the frontliners. Moon Love You taking a big chunk of that damage. Garrus again with the flicker in forward, trying to go for the Detonus welcome, unable to find the right target now. The Revitalize coming down with the AOG. So it's wolf away, but Kinson is able to find Gallon in the back now. Melvin got picked up, and Kinson is massive in the fight. Going for the shot now over on Ian. That's a jump in and a triple for Kinson. Fair pops in the go away just in time to relieve off some pressure for both him and So. But Hong Kong, China, with a team fight, are back in the lead in this game.
That was a tough one. That was a tough team fight to win. They had to split their forces up, and honestly, it really boils down to positions of power, right? And Korea was just a little... they were fighting in a position where they had to split their attention. Had they just played it a little bit further back, closer to where the Lord Pit actually was, then they would have plenty more space to kind of direct their opponents and herd them like sheep. But unfortunately, they are not the shepherds this time around. China now going to take the tempo and turn this around from what was a deficit in the mid game as we come into the game, is now converting into something able to take in the early stages of the game to even out this score. Now they have a 1.2K lead against Korea, but they're not pushing them all the way to their inhibitors. It's just tier 1s.
With this comp, Hong Kong, China, it almost seemed like that early window to get that snowball was going to be gone. But they slammed the door at the window. They broke it again. They found another opening. And now Kinson, 0-2-0, back to a 3-2-0. This is just prime position. Ian, up at the top, they're going to go in right for the Dryad, locking him down as well. Kinson's looking at the flag. I don't know about this. Garrus can't get in range of the Detonus welcome, so it's just poke from everywhere, all the angles. Hong Kong, China, utilizing that as distraction so that the mini waves in the bottom lane can take a free tier 2 as now they look for the siege. Good Star Shatter on Gaon. As again, they go onto the mid lane. Oh, wait a second. The Abyssal Arrow landed. There's now Detonus welcome gets a chop down on Okimoji. Hong Kong, China, they were caught lacking in the positioning game. And now they have to lose their mage. At least they still get the tier 2 up top. So it's not over. They're still able to get some good trades. No shutdown. So I still think it's a Hong Kong, China win.
Okimoji, he's probably thinking to himself, like, I wish I took Purify. I was so bad that I have Purify in moments like that. But it happens. It does happen in the middle, and especially within the chaos of battle. Let's quickly look at the items to see, oh my goodness, all right, Garrus just trying not to die every single encounter. Chastised Baldrin on top of having the Guardian Helm. 3 items already complete here by Claire, looking for Winds of Nature completed as well. On the opposite end, Moonlove, making sure that he has a Chastised Pauldron, Dom Ice, but also make sure that he also has Blade Armor, just to make sure that I don't know. The extra armor here, considering that it's going to deal with like a DHS, I would have preferred if lean more into an anti-cuirass if he wants to protect himself specifically from the burst. But I think in the overall long-term fight of it all, since Claire doesn't have the Malefic gun, it's still worthwhile.
Yeah, these Star Shatters are still going to really hurt, man. Claire went for the Wind of Nature. That means he's still going to be very vulnerable to those Star Shatter shots. And even for Garrus, I mean, they have a little bit of defenses, man, but it's not enough to keep them at bay. God, look at that Astral Echo now with the Torn Apart Memory as well from Kinson earlier. Basically takes them off the map as Hong Kong, China use that poke advantage to reclaim position on the map. That top lane's good, though, at least. So was able to utilize his friend's bodies in mid as distraction to push up top. And actually, it's Wolf who gets sent up top. You got to remember, Selena Nolan clears really quickly. This could just be the call to burst it down, Gideon.
Yep, they're going to start the blitz immediately. Detona's Welcome's going to connect. They reposition to try and punish this, but unfortunately, they're a little too tanky, and they're able to power through with the help of Revitalize. AOG tries to disengage, but unfortunately, not enough as Wolf is able to take the Lord. Kinson takes Leon, and now it's the chase. Winds of Nature already out. Claire, unfortunately, drops the ult really, really late into the fight. Punished, but loses out on the flicker, but doesn't trade their lives. So they still, 1 Lord, 4 Leon, and overall, Hong Kong have taken control of everything. And we see the trade back. The Abyssal Arrow connects Kingston, loses out on his stacks.
Oh, way too hasty. But I could have sworn, Gideon. I've heard of biased casters, but never of a biased Lord. 2 Lord knockups onto So and Claire, I believe, in that skirmish, giving Wolf the opening he needed to just go for the free retro. He didn't even need to try on that retribution. 1 level advantage for Soul. Didn't matter. Completely free. But yeah, way too high hasty from Kinson, man. Could just waited. Oh, what? He just opened it up. Big chop. Wolf gets caught, and it's a free kill. Gowon. 2 shutdowns onto the 2 marksmen of Hong Kong, China. Man, they gotta be more patient. They can't be opening up. They got all the vision in the world, but they're not using it, Gideon.
I mean, they believe that they're not going to get punished. Like, Wolf probably was walking up thinking like, yeah, I got Traceless. I just got to react to it. But unfortunately, you can't be prepared for every single scenario. And not to mention that Barats is really scary if you don't have the Purify. The Detona's Welcome is always going to connect, especially considering that Garrus has been playing a phenomenal EXP Barats by far. As we see soon, he will be able to take the purple buff and steal that away for himself. So his influence across the map is still going to be maintained.
This is where we start to really say that tagline of the new patch, man. Loving MLBB, both teams really enjoying it so far, man, to a point where they're just opening up randomly as well. Kinson and Wolf. Okay, you know what? Kinson, Wolf, and Okimoji. They got to start swapping places with Everyday Kiss and Would Love You. They all have almost more deaths than the frontliners here. Wolf, oh, with a fly mounted shocker dodge away from Claire. Is able to survive right now with the help of the Revitalize, but Wolf gets a big shot and finds the kill. Now it's the kite back with the rest of the team as Wolf jumps in forward, getting kill free proc as Ian gets out just barely. Gowon has already recalled. The Torn Apart Memory, not enough to take anyone down, but it's enough to push them away from this tier 2 for them to siege it down.
The pokes is just too good here. So far, these Star Shatters have been doing a lot of work in this game to get some permanent damage onto Team Korea, forcing them to actually go for these recalls every single time. And it's breaking up the battle lines, right? The AoE is good. Even Gowon, despite Garrus, you can tell he can take the damage, no problem. But Gowon, he can't. He lost half his HP. He's now into the fracture. Moon might be in some trouble here, but with the Revitalize, they stay healthy. The front lines are fighting each other. Wrath of Dryad's already out, but here comes Yixin Shin to pick up the kill onto Leon. So far, so good for Hong Kong.
The damage is just way too diverse for them to itemize at this point for. They really got to wait for a little bit longer for them to actually be able to handle those all-ins from Hong Kong, China. I think it's also just because of that scaling, dude. The Star Shatters are really starting to melt these tanks. Wolf as well. They have double marksman composition. Without Ian, it's just not possible for them to just walk up. Who love you? Taking that position in the bush, the Astral Echo revealing all of them. This should just be free. Unless Claire can get the muddles in, but man, great Star Shatter, great read by Okimoji. Wolf with an attempt, the Abyssal Arrow lands, but there's no one that can really walk up forward. Garrus on this dino. Not too big of a dino with those Star Shatters landing constantly. The missiles actually land, pitch chomp, and the flicker, throwing him under turret. Immortality down, the fracture coming out. Ian going for the zone. That Wrath of the Dryad, just a bit desperate. Kinson playing this slow, has learned from the mistake of the past. Will just wait for the Lord, but yeah. I think for Hong Kong, China, again, every time they get the Lord, they just keep on overextending just a bit. This gives Korea a man advantage for the defense.
Yeah, I love the fact that Team China right now, that they're willing to greed out. They're willing to like reach a little bit further. Yes, they're getting punished, of course, but that's more due to just how decisive Korea is playing on the defense and on whether or not we're going to guarantee kill this guy and make sure we zone out the rest. We don't even mind trading 1-for-1 in those particular cases. Luckily, they didn't, so it's just an upward trajectory for Korea on the defense, especially after being completely zoned away from this Lord. I think the one problem this composition is facing right now is the fact that Gaon can't seem to extend his angles, right? Not like Okimoji, who can basically shoot from all the way behind in the back lines. Unfortunately for Gaon, he doesn't necessarily want to do that. He needs to show a little bit of presence from multiple angles so it starts breaking up the formation of Team China. Because so far, that's what Team China is doing right now. They just open up the map front to back, and all of a sudden, even Kinson sometimes is trying to pull the attention away to make sure that the front to back is never fully aligned.
And I think Okimoji, if he's able to find those, shots again through these frontliners, it'll be very big. I mean, look at his items, dude. He's on the way to a Holy Crystal last item. Oh, God. There's no magic defense for Claire, so it wouldn't even be crazy to say that I think he can one-shot Claire if he gets the Holy Crystal, dude. Claire's got to be very careful. This is a greedy build, not even going for Rose Gold Meteor.
I don't think he'll get one shot. I think he'll lose at least. Oh, I don't want to say 7/8. I think
I think he's out of the fight. That's for sure. If he gets shot,
he's gonna be quite out of the fight. He can still heal back up with his Trinity, but that's assuming that he has like max stacks all the way from the beginning to the end of the fight. And Moji, again, seems to have his heat-seeking missiles directed to Su.
This is unfair, man. I thought that was supposed to be a skill shot. Oh, Claire, you gotta be careful, buddy. These are auto-target skills. They're just that skill shot is a deception. It's not. You gotta be careful, especially with the Astral Echo. All right, when there's no Astral Echo, all right, it's actually a skill shot. But there you go. Members revealed, not in range. Claire just staying out of bounds here. He goes for the lane in the bottom lane. Solid stuff for Wolf. They're just trying to fight for control over the far lane. Claire doing a good job at playing these dodgeball, Star Shatter. Oh, big chop. It's only onto the frontliner now. It's only onto Everyday Kiss. That's okay with it. Onto the Consecration is able to escape. Claire free hitting in the back line with the muddles as well. Just shredding down these frontliners. Now in Torment Memory will be able to take Garrus down as the AOG doesn't land. And Kinson is able to space himself in the back. A big Wishing Lantern prop of the Star Shatter. Now Wolf jumps in again. Goes for the Arrow Strike. Finds the kills. He traceless forward. The shot of the Star Shatter doesn't land. But Hong Kong China have the game in their eyes.
They're looking for the end game scenario right now. It's up to Claire and Su to make it work, and Claire can only do so much. Star Shatter doesn't connect. Inhibitor finally falls. Muddles is doing a little bit of work, but eventually she's going to run out of targets to actually auto-attack. Meteor connects well to Shatter, force the winds of nature, and they clear the wave just in time. Korea gets to see another day, forcing Hong Kong back, but they should be able to take the Lord here for Team China.
And I love the decision from Hong Kong China. They didn't go straight for the Lord. They knew that they had time to get the base turret, at least to try to put some more pressure, maybe bait some of those resources, right? A battle spell, something out from Claire or from Soul before they got the Lord. Now they have an evolved Lord at 21 minutes. That's usually a death sentence. Kinson and Wolf, Okimoji, these three backliners have scaled fantastically in the game from what looked to be a bad early game. And they have 3 waves to push Gideon. It doesn't really seem like Korea will have the space necessary to stagger these waves from coming in all together.
Yeah, it's man. If it all comes in, if it all syncs up, that would be the most ideal situation for Team China. For now, Moji is going to start the work here. Going to put some damage onto Garrus, forcing out the Detonus Welcome early on. They still have waves that's being delayed on that top side. It doesn't collapse at exactly the same time, and Hong Kong may have just missed their opportunity. They've got one more chance here with the next waves already spawned and about to push in, but it looks like they're not even going to bother.
Wolf got picked off up top alone, down. Really going ban for ban on those skill shots. An Abyssal Arrow landing on a Yi Sun Shin when they have Evolved Lord. Korea's really making this difficult for Hong Kong China. Folks, this is just game 1 of a possible 5-game series in the grand finals of this East Asia qualifiers for ENC. And we see just exactly how much it means for both these countries to try to make it to the ENC main stage. Wind of Nature again for Claire. It was a sell earlier for the Immortality. And now it's back to level playing field because Hong Kong China weren't able to get a far lane, a side base turret earlier. It was just the mid that's still very easy to deal with now for Korea.
Yep, and they got a bit of a push on the bottom side of the map here. I don't know. We've seen many different facets of this game, but we're also seeing the many different facets of these teams. Some people are stepping up at weird times in the middle of these fights, and it makes all the difference because so far, as you see a lot of these 5v5s, it's a lot of pushing and pulling, right? Nobody really wants to commit until they see the mistake or opportunity, mainly just a window to punish their opponents. And they might have found it, forcing Kingston to actually use his Winds of Nature early on. Good fracture by So, forcing out resources.
That is big resource spend right there. Kinston did well in not flickering there. That could have been an easy flicker bait. Decides to go for Wind of Nature, has the composure to save some of those resources, man. Even in the position like this, 23 minutes in, wave up top looks good. They've dealt with it because they got pressure from Kinston using the Wind of Nature early. Now I think for Garrus, it's all about him saving the Detonus Welcome. He can't really be using it early anymore against Moon Love You, against Everyday Kiss. These guys can take that beating, can take that one-shot potential. Oh my god, Trace us away from the taunt. The arrow lands on Kinston. He buys the Immortality, so he swaps out the Wind of Nature. Wave up top is good again for Korea. They're going to go away for the missiles over on Everyday Kiss. Detonus Welcome again, saved by Garrus. They bait out the Consecration. Ian in the front again. Lord taking a half HP as the mid-wave gets pushed out by Kinston and the boys. Garrus the flicker out. He's soloed Immortality, not even Poppy uses the Detonus Welcome. Defensively, the taunt lands on Claire, but no one was there to follow it up. There you go. Claire's out of the fight with a Star Shatter, and it's back to Hong Kong China with a hold over the Lord as the Abyssal Arrow lands, and it baits out the Purify out from Everyday Kiss. Wolf will be able to get that Retribution down. A bait from So, the Wrath of the Dryad lands, and that was Claire with the muddles on the back. Garrus, no Detonus Welcome. Korea will have to defend from an Evolved Lord again.
Good punish from Moon. Really good punish. Saw the initial dash coming in from So, immediately went Wrath of the Dryad. He knew and anticipated the Fracture combination coming out of him and gets the taunt to secure themselves the kill. Great plays by Hong Kong China. So far, I think the biggest issue right now for Korea is the fact that they can't seem to get Claire into position to start hurting them and fight for that space. It's really interesting to see how Hong Kong has been maneuvering around them and specifically trying to cut down on the HP of Garrus, keep him in the fight for as long as possible. And now, Detonus Welcome already being used, they're not going to be able to run away with this easily.
Kinston with a Thorn of Heart Memory there, Immortality Buyer as well. They're able to get Moon Love You Code! In the back finds the shutdown! And now it looks possible again. Hong Kong China playing with the Star Shadow, landing on Claire again with the muddles onto the frontliners. He's melting them down with a taunt land. And Wolf's right there to go away, finally used up. Now the Star Shatter, taking the Immortality down, and that's going to be Okimoji with the Astral Echo again. Down, unable to survive through that thunder. Oh God, it's game one to Hong Kong China.
Ooh. Man, what a game number one to kind of set the tone of what East Asia is all about. It is interesting to see this particular play style, right? Again, it feels like boxing. Both sides feels like that they are taking turns, taking swings at each other. It's about how good you can defensively play. It's great to see that Gaon's number 7 in Korea on this Selena, and it makes so much sense. The fact that he has snuck so many arrows onto Kinston is impressive, considering how many bodies they have to somehow weave the arrow through.
I gotta say, though, fantastic from both these teams in their first game of the grand finals here. Yes, Gaon really threaded the needle a couple of those times, man. Actually dealt the most damage as a Selena. A very impressive feat. But when it comes to the late game, it's just the diversity of damage coming in from Hong Kong China that was able to deal with the frontliners better. Wolf, Kinston on physical damage. They have those endless battles as well. Some more true damage. Kinston with the range and the killer instinct to flicker in a lot of those times to bait out those resources. But at the end of the day, it's Okimoji too, man. Those shots, those Star Shatters landing crucial moments. The Lightning Truncheon proc that was able to get Gaon down, dude. GG. GG for our game number one. It's 26 minutes. I think that's the norm at this point, seeing how competitive the game is. But Damn, that was a good first game for this grand finals.
It really is. It really is. It really goes to show that they've kind of understood the basics of the way that these team fights need to go, but they also understand like the little intricacies here. Oh, Detna's welcome is down. We got to run him down at this point, right? Making sure that they utilize the Uranus alongside specifically with the Star Shatters. Make sure that you have like dangerous damage at all stages of the game. With that being said, though, that's just game number 1. When we come back, it's more ENC MLBB action.
The Fanny I understand on red side, but the Hirata on blue side is something that's kind of weird. Is it maybe them just not being comfortable with it, or is it them trying to prioritize different picks? I feel like it's just a Melissa, right? They want to have that open right now, and that's why they ban out the Hirata first. But at the end of the day, I feel like even if you have the Melissa, it should be pretty good against the Hirata. We'll see, though. We'll see what the plan is right now for Hong Kong, China. They were able to get a game win earlier without the Hirata and actually rely that hasn't really found a lot of success in the recent meta, at least from the international tournaments and our domestic MPLs that we've casted. So, hey, sticking to the identity was the narrative that we brought in before the game started, and it definitely looked like that was what Hong Kong, China were leaning on, playing front to back, having the solid frontliners up front, banning out the Freya on blue side again. It really just seems like it's the replay of game 1, just on different sides in the bans.
Yeah, what are we doing here? Like, these are all abusable picks for blue side.
Even the Marcel.
Yeah, I don't. Like for red side, it makes a little bit more sense, right? It's like, okay, we don't want to give you these first picks anyways. But like Marcel is one of those, like, man, some teams are a little 50-50 on it because it's either you have perfect chemistry and Marcel must pick, must ban, or you've got like 80% chemistry and you're like, man, that 20% has costed us games. Let's just ban it out.
All right. So is it exactly the same as game number 1 is the question now, right? I mean, game number 1, what was the ban after this? It was Atlas. Atlas is something that is still up in the air. The Paquito as well. So at least there's 2 heroes now that may be left open. We might not have to see the exact same draft, but it really depends. Never mind. Atlas gets taken out. I believe this should be the Paquito. And we're back to a Melissa first pick, just on a different side now.
Show me pack. Show me pack. And then we've got the starters that we're going to look for once again, as the Melissa will first pick, and then so on, so forth from that point onwards. Generally speaking, though, I don't know whether this is like an admission of guilt from a China side. It's either like we either don't know how to play Hirara, or there is like another pick that's just too good to give up in the Melissa for Claire to say, you know what, I don't think this is something that we want to do. Or maybe it's we want to deny it off of him, because Kinson did a great job on Brody. Imagine if he had Melissa.
A punch for a punch.
Well, you don't need to imagine. It seems it's just going to be picked up straight for Hong Kong, China, unless they subvert our expectations. But there's no way. It really feels like Melissa's just that good in the meta currently. Yes, it did lose. It did lose, but it came through. Oh, the loss was a tough one. He was able to defend for so long. That's the reason they stayed in for. Who love you?
Really gonna do the Belric opener?
Wow. I mean, if it is, then it's a Melissa and Did they just go Melissa Uranus then for Korea? I think that might be the case.
Yep, I think it's supposed to be Uranus in that case. Wouldn't make
They're
sense
thinking about this one.
otherwise. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because again, this is for the sake of draft order, or maybe for the final 2 picks at the very end here, because it's just the leading pick, right? So now Beleric is their leading pick. We come on, let's keep it standard here. You don't need to show exactly what your support is just yet. Uranus seems to be the go-to most of the time, and then this should be like what? Uranus, Melissa,
The falling stars.
Varia
flash here.
instead. Interesting.
I love
interesting.
I love the adjustment. We had this conversation off camera, Gideon. Navario's prio, in my opinion, I think it's just really good. It's also a way to deny the Melissa, because the Melissa just really struggles when there's someone who has more range than her that can burst her down in the late game, right? Even though you don't insta-kill her, you don't one-shot her, still, you're out of the fight, right? You don't have that much lifesteal just with the Trinity alone. And you're going to have to get so many hits on the jungle creeps. And in the late game, a lot of times it just cleared it out for you to get more gold for those item swaps. So I think it's solid. It's also, it serves as a very safe weak side mid. It's weird, but you play a supportive role. And what's good about the Navaria is you don't even need the level 4 compared to other mid laners, right? Like Eudora, per se, even Vexana. Most of the prio mid laners right now need level 4 to fight. And hey, you called it too. We were talking about if Navaria is prio, we'll probably see more lings. We'll probably see more ways to try to bypass that front line, just get straight into the Navaria.
I'm down for it, but I think this opening pick was a mistake. I definitely think that the Beleric, unfortunately, is just one of those heroes. Like, it's good in team fights, but if you're going to play to punish Novaria with this link, you need strong side laners to kind of protect you, or at least the mid that clears super fast to ensure that the invasions don't happen in, you know, untimely manners, right? I think that's the big issue. Like, Link can take care of the Novaria, assuming that he can get a certain number of items at a certain period of time. And I think that the Republic of Korea at this stage probably should take advantage of the fact that, yes, we already have the Brody. We've seen what the matchup looks like. We know that we can abuse it. We've got the Uranus, which is a non-losing matchup. So the only thing that we have to worry about is whether or not the Barats, or in this particular situation, the Esme and Rafa is still available. Rafa gets banned out. And I think right now it's just the Esme that they have to worry about. That way they can maintain control over the side lanes for a long period of time.
I think the Matilda also serves a very, very good role in this game, especially up against an Navaria, against a Brody. These two backliners, right? If you have someone that can help the Ling just dive through, get maybe the Beleric even in a spot. Like, the Beleric is roam here, but I think we've gone to a point where, again, the picks can just be that dynamic. I think Matilda can actually still work in mid if you already have enough damage on the side lanes, and even in the jungle. Right now, you got crazy late game damage. So maybe all you need now is someone to just rotate around to get people to safety, right? Because right now, it really looks like Korea, they want to utilize these strong lanes. They want to go for the prio on XP, on mid, to rotate over to their Brody to get that strong side, and then they can steamroll across the map, especially considering there's a Ling on Hong Kong, China side. They will have no map pressure early. They are literally just waiting and hoping for mid to late game for those items to come through, or for Korea to overstep, and maybe Hong Kong, China gets a snowball.
Either ways, it still is going to depend on, highly depend on whether or not, like, if we're talking just about the side lane, sure, they're going to be stuck, basically glued to their seats, unfortunately, until neutral objectives. But that mid lane right now is what I'm most concerned about. Because as much as you have the Novaria, there is still counterplay in terms of, like, sending that Beleric up front to block the shots, so that, unfortunately, oh, you don't get to clear the wave first, we get to make that move, and then it's too late. Our side lanes start to crumble, right? So we need a support that not only is able to kind of affect the side lanes, has high mobility. I'm thinking Cho is already, like, super good, but I feel like that depends on whether or not they have, like, a jungler that can contest. And now that Harley is gone, they might be forced back on a Yi Shin. I don't think it's going to be the Johnson. I think that leaning into either, Glue even, pretty decent overall, but it's dependent on the answers.
Yeah, I like the Matilda a bit better, man. The Glue against the Melissa is a very tough pick to pull off. You can't get past the go away, so it's so awkward. Once you go for the slam, pass, you get thrown back. Everybody just needs to corral over and play together with Kinson this game. Whoa, that's even crazier, brother. No way. That is a no way right there. Gold and XP have been filled up. We've seen gold even in Indonesia, but jungle just sounds like a bit. It sounds like a troll pick. Don't even think it's a bit of a troll pick. You just go for fast clear in mid with the Cho. It's also very good against the Ling. So there you go. That's the idea for Republic of Korea. They want to get tempo literally everywhere, dude. Mid with the Varya and Cho, your Reyna's up top, and then you have the Brody in the goal lane with now, I think, a Harley, right? It really seems like they need someone to just execute these dudes early on with these winning lanes. It's either that or they go for Nolan and they clear the neutral objective quick.
Which would I prefer, actually? I think I'm leaning more into Nolan at this particular point of time because, again, it fits the characteristics, right? At the end of the day of what Republic of Korea want to do. The Zushin, very, very smart. I like this a lot. It really punishes that front line just in case they overstep their boundaries. It forces the interactions to be very short and very, very quick. If it's any longer, they get punished. And now we also get to see the Esme to try and fight for the EXP link priority, now that Baratz has already been banned out. And then now Hayabusa, because Harley gets banned out. You need somebody that cleans these guys up. And unfortunately, something that has a little bit more early game would be ideal.
That fits the bill. You know, I didn't see the Harley get banned out there. But yes, Hayabusa, someone else that has been rising, I guess, in popularity, especially in GOTF recently, right? We've been seeing a lot of those games. And this really reminds me of that Rune Eaters game where they were able to stomp through. It was just all about tempo. And then the Hayabusa getting all the kills, maybe a possible Sky Piercer over the Brody. It gets locked in. And wait, has there been a swap in players?
Oh, yeah.
I believe
Parker
so.
coming, right?
Parker, yeah. So literally, is not in the lineup anymore. It's Parker.
Interesting. All right. So maybe this is something we probably should have brought up a little bit earlier, but we just noticed it. His hero pool might have been different. Maybe he performs better on these assassins rather than the scaling style of junglers anyways. I would have liked to see the Nolan. That would have, accelerated this game a lot faster, but we can't forget the Hayabusa at level 4 is just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, especially when he has access to Warcry, one of the few assassins that doesn't mind utilizing in the early stages of the game to get extra damage. And looks like Ling is running with the Warcry as well, rather than the killing spree. He knows his job. Go in, bait spells, get out. If you can clean up, that's great, but leave Kinson to do the rest of the work.
Hey, it's a dynamic meta. We're seeing new picks again, just debut picks all around. This time it's the Ling and the Hayabusa with the Esmeralda and Cho, obviously. Well, even the Juicin, right? We're seeing so many more picks come through, and I agree with you. I think for Hong Kong, China, it's great. They needed a bit more utility in the mid lane as they already have these carries in the side lane and in jungle. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2. Will it be Hong Kong, China with match point, or will Korea this time with Parker in the lineup equalize 1-1?
Let's find out as we jump right into this. First things first, where is the jungles going to start? As assassin junglers, there's only 2 things you're really thinking about. Number 1, are we going to contest for Litho Wanderer? And number 2, are we full clearing or are we partial clearing? And it looks like it's going to be full clears from both sides as they start on their green camps and immediately go over to their purple buff, which again, both of these junglers are purple buff dependent. Unfortunately for Link, a lot more so than Hayabusa. Thank God Moon didn't steal that away. That I would have been so tilted for Wolf.
Yeah, luckily not purple buff. Luckily didn't retreat early. Good decision there by Wolf. A lot of times, especially when you're playing a safe jungle, you just want to full clear and you retreat early to get that lead in clear. Parker also didn't use the retribution early. He waited for the Lethal Wanderer, and with the help of Gowan, basically secures it with the Star Shatter. And look, again, weak side mid lane. It's very weird, but it's just super safe for Gowan. There's no way anyone can go for the poke, and now Claire. Ooh. Taking a trade. Kinson's got to be very careful in this lane. He was on the Brody. You should know exactly what Claire is able to do here on the Brody. You don't go for the trades on the Melissa level 1 to 2, especially the new Melissa. Back then, you can still go for these trades because you have Inspire, but whoa, Flicker early. Good respect from Everyday Kiss. Didn't want to risk that quad shadow landing from Parker.
Yeah, I definitely, it's one of those moments where it's just like, man, Everyday Kiss should have known Little Wanderer was taken. He was on this side of the map and he had purple buff, so he should have expected him on that top side and maybe saved his Flicker. But at the very least, there was an all-in moment there for Claire, but he had to back off knowing that the rest of his team is communicating that Moon here, Moon Love You, and a Wolf were already pathing down to this bottom side. So he misses out on that important opportunity to start dominating this lane. And Parker, he's still trying. He's trying to go for these big intercepts in the middle of the rotations.
Doesn't look like the Juice and Belleric combo is getting them all that mid prio. Okimoji got really chunked. My lord, a Star Shatter. And now the Echo lands. Big poke as well. Parker's going to go in with a shadow kill. Wolf on Everyday Kids. Good revitalize to keep them at bay. Wolf now jumps into the quad shadow behind, but he's able to get away. That is distraction. Ian getting taken out. That's the showdown. First blood to Hong Kong, China, Parker. So look at the angle. The Crimson Beacon not ready just yet. He's already used up. Not on cool to Parker. To walk up with the quad shadow now with the retribution. It's Wolf who gets in with the Defiant Blade. And nobody walks into the pin. Wolf gets away. It's a kill and a turtle for Hong Kong, China.
Everybody was nervous there. Everybody was just thinking they're going to be the next person who dies. Hong Kong gives up the space, but still manages to secure the turtle, and then manages to save their boy Wolf before he ends up getting walked down by Garrus. You would have imagined that Parker should have been the one who actually wants to get in and try to finish off with at least some of his shurikens, but he even recognizes if he sticks any longer, he's going to get picked up by Okimoji, and then it's over. Now purple buff contestation here for the side of Korea.
Purple buff still alive. Ian's not level 4 just yet, though. I don't know about this. The way the dragon finally gets up. He gets away the dragon, locking him down Everyday Kiss there for the Wrath of the Giant. Stops the initiation. The shadow kill still comes through to get a pick off, but it's 1-for-1 now as Garrus gets covered at the time of the blade. And the blades from Wolf are clean. 4 blades into a double.
That's going to be EXP trades, but now here comes Claire. One of our memories is going to come out as well. Not going to be enough, even with the Star Shatter not connecting. Revitalize does get used very early on. So, something to keep in mind. That's 65 seconds worth of not going to heal back up and my teammates for a little bit of time. In the moment, we see that Korea, again, sending a lot of resources down to Claire. He wants to control this lane, which is perfectly honest and fine, but at the same time, like, Down has been playing such a good utility role, helping Parker clear leash his buffs, making sure that he is controlling this mid lane well. And now you see that even the supports don't necessarily have to stick around in the mid lane anymore. They need to start alleviating pressure everywhere across the map. And as long as Korea is asking the question, Hong Kong, China must answer.
The Wolf is just scaling really well. We were talking about a possible snowball for Hong Kong, China. They seem like they do have that, the scaling for the late game initially with the Ling and the Melissa. Ian, the dragon, locking him down. Okimoji still has a Crimson Beacon, is able to get away. The Wrath of the Giant locks Parker down. Now we get the turtle spotting in the game as well, giving us a little bit. Oh, Wolf gets outplayed. The shadow kill came in time, and it dodges the Tempest of Blade for Parker. Well played. Korea with the mechanics, and now they go straight to the purple buff and the turtle simultaneously. All right, there you go. That's how you shut down a snowball from happening.
They get the kill onto Wolf. They get the kill onto Moon as well. That's exactly what they were looking for. And now they even the score 3-3, and they are the ones who are developing the gold lead on the Hong Kong, China. And at this stage of the game, we're seeing that Claire now has been unlocked with the quick lane swap, and Garrus is able to maintain tempo down on that bot side. Tier 1 as a huge convergence. What are you going to do? Get away from me? All right, that's fine. I'm going to pop the consecration, and now, arguably, he can still be annoying underneath that turret.
Yeah, no way for Melissa to 1v1 Uranus this early on in the game. Oh, Wolf really struggling now with the purple buff, dude. Oh, Ian! GQ knowing the way to drag it into the shadow kill. Good RNG saves him. Oh, but the Star Shatter lands on the turret down. Great shot.
RNG, nah, they take fate by the hands. They don't need a random number generator to show that they are good. And Korea, so far, this early to mid game has been looking great for them. That transition, you've seen trying to do this in game number 1. They get that early lead, and then unfortunately, it starts to fall off towards the latter half. Now, we're going to see whether or not Korea is able to maintain this pressure, because in this current metagame, if you maintain that pressure, you're going to be able to develop an even better lead. Tempest of Blade's already being used, Lone, unable to set this up, but does mean that Wolf can't just walk around and take any fights that he wants. He doesn't have his iframes anymore, but Lune did have to use his flicker, did also have to use the Way of the Dragon.
Yeah. Retribution. Oh, I think Parker, stole it away there with his Retribution. Wolf, unfortunately, unable to get the purple for a second time this game. I wonder if he has top boots, though. I think that's the case, because the Way of the Dragon was canceled. Now, Okimoji becomes a Negan, walking up the go-away as well. Stops the quad shadow. The shadow kill comes around to the Star Shatter again. Threading the needle, the top land. But Kids is going to be knocked up again with the Way of the Dragon by Ian. It's a kill again. Now it's going to be the 2 frontliners running away, but a torn apart memory takes Moon Love You down. It's a Sky Piercer stack over to Claire on the Brody.
Yeah, this is working out like way too well. The Meteor, like not even the Star Shatter, just the Meteor alongside with the Ionic Edge coming in from Garrus is way too much damage for even Moon to deal with, right? And if they get locked down in place, that's even worse. The early game damage here is just too much for Hong Kong to actually handle at this stage of the game, especially if they don't have their scalers with the right items. And it also doesn't help that Everyday Kiss, he's not exactly the tankiest just yet. I'm pretty sure we pull up the items, probably went for first item Enchanted Talisman, and then started going into some of the tankier components to the build.
So this is Chastised Pauldron built up for Ian. Oh man, this is what we were talking about though beforehand. We were talking about the Brody picks, right? If you win lane, if you get out of that lane early, if you get that snowball rolling, the amount of pressure you have is ridiculous. A whole 2 levels ahead. And Clear feels comfortable to be using that ultimate just to poke. Look at that. Together with the Star Shatter, it just feels illegal. Would Love You has to use regen every time it's up, and Garrus has pressure on the other side. Stops the lane from farming. Oh, dude, taking the purple buff away again. Wolf is struggling hard this game, and they're all trying to get him. He has a Finch points, right?
I don't know. I think he used the... Okay, it came off the cooldown. Thank God. Thank God. He gets on out of there, no problem. The one thing I can appreciate from both Hong Kong, China, and as well as Republic of Korea is the fact that they are playing for tempo, which is, again, something that I haven't seen as often in MPL MY, personally speaking.
Interesting.
From week number 1, but the way that they are willing to initiate fights just to maintain that tempo, right? The fact that Lone was able to get a kick and force out the Tempest of Blades out from Wolf is good enough, and that's why these purple buffs have been very easy for Korea to steal away time and time again. So it's about not only when you use your abilities, but what does this lead up to? They're thinking further into the future.
All right. Brody Siege potential with the zoning of Gowan on that Star Shatter. Working together, man. This is just amazing Siege. Hong Kong, China, at this point, really just trying to give Wolf the space necessary to keep on farming. But look at that. The kill squad coming out. Claire unable to get the smooch on Wolf. Oh, wait a second. He might have to use his Tempest of Blades. Oh, that last shot didn't connect. That could have been a... Oh, wait. Ian in the back finds the angle. Luckily for Wolf, he's able to get out of the Jeet Kune Do. So, yeah. Would love to see the items. I think he has tough boots. There's no way he's able to get out of these Jeet Kune Do's like that if it wasn't for tough boots.
Yep, for sure. It's got to be tough boots. I would have imagined that, you know, Lun would have been buffering the way to the dragon as soon as possible, but it ended up getting canceled out by the Tempest of Blades anyway. So either or, it's still a big win, because without the Tempest of Blades, Wolf has no safe way to get in and out of fights, right? You can hope that your Divine Swords is going to be enough, but like really, it boils down to your Finch Poise. That's a pretty decently long cooldown after you hop off the wall, and your Tempest of Blades, which is kind of your intermediary ability to dodge stuff. Oh, wait, the dragon connects onto Ling once again. Tempest of Blades doesn't get called in time. Doesn't have it. Unfortunately, the Oki Shadow Kill onto the backline catches Kingston, and now this is starting to boil over for Hong Kong, China, because nobody can stop Garrus from zoning up the rest of their teammates, and now Wolf, isolated from the rest of the team. Republic of Korea is going to start walking up to the inhibitor turrets.
I think it might be the end angle here. 13 seconds on Kinson. Gown's still there as well with the Star Shatters here. Claire, over the damage instead of these turrets. The Lord charging in the mid lane. They're going to go for the base turret up top first. It's going to be the far lane. Way the dragon locking them down now as Claire tries to go for the turret, and he does. That's a corrosion strike to go for the smoochy, to go for the stun. Oh, Ian gets past the wall. Survives, and it's another kill over to Claire. Not the end they were looking for, but they got the far lane, which is equally as good, or maybe even better, to secure that win here. 10-5, 6,000 gold lead. Ling with no purple buff since, what, the 5th minute of the game. This is going to get more and more difficult for Hong Kong, China to come back from.
All of this is because of the early game, right? Had Hong Kong, China used a bit of their mid pressure early on, trying to invade and trying to steal away camps from Parker, maybe this wouldn't have been so difficult, right? Because unfortunately for Novaria, she doesn't necessarily have the cooldowns to kind of keep this up until we start getting past like level 8 plus the Enchanted Talisman. Then it's just the constant rain of meteor showers, the constant star shatters coming through against their opponents. At this stage, they don't have the tempo to do so. And worse yet, the big game changers, like if Moon maybe had a flicker, there's an opportunity to try and get these turnaround fights, but because he's running Revitalize, it has to be a traditional front to back. It's kind of all on Wolf and Emoji to try and find punishes.
Oh, a few more shots. Sort of memory coming out. Oh my god! Oh, so low. Kinson gets caught with the Star Shatter too, and it takes fight. Now the siege again. It's just so much pressure from this combo. The endless battle finally for Wolf. So he's scaling, he's farming. Can he escape from this, Parker? Quad Shadow. Oh, he cancels the recall. Wolf is in a bad spot. Down now with a rotation as well. The Tempest of Blades used up. Can he get in out of time? The stun from Claire and the kill over to Parker. Oh no, 20 seconds from the Lord spawn and they lose Wolf again.
Like it couldn't get from bad to worse. From bad to worse. Now they're just going to keep on sieging them until Kingdom Come. Kingston is going to try his best to try and zone them up, but Garrus, he's outscaled the Esmeralda at this stage of the game. Oki Shadow Kill comes through onto Everyday Kiss, isn't able to RNG it to victory, but it's good enough. Now they've got the pressure that they were looking for, forcing the majority of the members of HKG to back off to their base to top up, but then the Lord is going to get rushed down. There's nothing they can do about this.
No Sky Piercer for Korea, but it don't even matter. That snowball, that lead has just gotten too big for Hong Kong, China to deal with it, at least outside of their base. They are confined to their base right now. They have to play under those turrets. They have to play for Kinson. Again, for Wolf, it's just impossible even after the scaling because he just doesn't have the resources, no mana, or sorry, energy for these skirmishes, dude. Oh, God, he's still stuck at 3 items. That is a big 1K gold lead in between the junglers, and you can see the Parker BOD being built up. So there is a Sky Piercer. It just... How many stacks does he have? Probably...
Probably 3. Usually after that first kill, they get the Sky Piercer, if we're going based on that theory. But either or, it's either 3 or 4 at this stage of the game. And worst part yet 30. Is that the one person who's supposed to frontline for the team barely has like 3rd item.
Wait, the dragon.
It connects. The Oki Shadow Kid kills the backline as well and also picks up Moon on the way out. That's 2 members already down. Tempest of Blades is going to come out to look for a trade onto Parker's side, but Parker plays it perfectly. Dodges all the abilities. Finch points to try and get him back, but he doesn't have enough energy. Lord knocking on that door, and it's only up to Okimoji alongside with Everyday Kiss, but they don't have enough. They don't have the raw single target damage as the Lord punches their way to get a game. It is 1-1 between Hong Kong, China, and the Republic of Korea.
Last time they met, it was 2-1, a win for Korea. This time, it plays out exactly the same way. It's 1-1, but it's a best of 5 this time around. So we have a chance to go all 5 games. It does seem like Korea, they've done a really good job, Republic of Korea, at adapting, at learning from game number 1 of what to go for, right? Didn't rush into the Melissa pick. Rather, they went for the Navaria that ends up paying dividends so much over to the team because it's also that enlarged hitbox that gives the team so much more to play with, right? For Parker, it's way easier to land those shadow kills and the quad shadows. Even the RNG doesn't even feel like an RNG anymore because you have to get so far away from your teammates for the shadow kill to actually dissipate just for one guy, for it to just be landing on the tanks. Then Claire as well, getting those shots. AoE on the Brody, those skill 1s into the torn apart memories, way easier to land. With the Melfic gun, are you kidding me? The range got even like, I mean, you already got such a massive advantage on the range of the Melfic gun. Brody, unlike, say, the Melissa the Claws, right, that end up getting it 4th item after the Trinity, it's the 2nd item for Brody. Maybe after the Sky Piercer, sometimes even before the Sky Piercer to pick up the Melfic gun so they can just get the turrets down, and that really just played into this game so much. Ian, though, I think if I were to choose an MVP, it would be him, man. He constantly had those Jeet Kune Dos, landing it on crucial targets, forcing Wolf to go for tough boots, not able to deal with the damage from Parker, from Claire, doesn't even have the cooldown to try to make the plays in the side lanes or those solo plays anymore. And maybe that's why we don't see the Ling. Even though it can be a good pick against the Navaria, you just literally have no way to play in the early game if your purple buff gets taken out. It's so one-dimensional until you get your items, or even if you get your purple buff.
And that's why I think that this isn't a testament to the proficiency of both Ian and as well as Gao at controlling that mid, controlling the mid, right? Because technically, in these types of cases, you would have expected Okimoji and Everyday Kisses to be able to kind of maintain that control, block the shot and immediately keep your eyes out for Ian. As long as level 1, they don't get the trade specifically on the Okimoji and still has a healthy life total, they should have been able to instantly invade in the early stages. The only way that this Ling was going to be able to play the game is that if their side laners who have pressure are able to join on the invade to try and get something back, but they never found those moments thanks to the mid trio. And really well done coming in from Korea's side, but they only even up the score 1-1, and this was an adaptation to the draft. Yes, technically they kind of like swapped a couple of the heroes and the type of composition they wanted to play, but at the end of it all, at least they had the hero pool to say, hey, even if we don't have a jungler, we technically have something that fits the bill.
So it's all about these small details now. So is it really Novaria first pick? We'll see in game number 3 as we go for a very short break.
Give me some of that fancy pants. Give me some of that highlight. I want something that will make me dance. Give me some of that good stuff. Give me some of that fancy pants. Give me some of that highlight. I want something that will make me dance. Give me some of that good stuff. Give me some of that fancy pants. Give me some of that highlight. I want something that will make me dance. Give me some of that good stuff. Give me some of that fancy pants. Give me some of that highlight. I want something that will make me dance.
And leave Republic of Korea to play a very high execution comp that can't rely on late game, right? Like, this is all up to Hong Kong, China, obviously, if they're still comfortable playing that, because they did take a risk as well in game number 2 by going for that scaling composition in the Melissa and the Ling. This time, though, they can try to get, there you go, more priority on the jungle. I guess no need for a Ling anymore. So the Varia pickup is just together with the Melissa. Nice. I like it. I like it. I like the adaptation from Hong Kong, China. And I think Republic of Korea weren't ready for this. I think they assumed one of those picks would be open, and now they're going to have to adjust again.
Yep, they take Beleric here. It feels like they don't want to waste the Beleric, but I think that at this stage, now that they've already shown EXP, this definitely means that the mid lane needs to be something pretty important here. And I think that Farsa is going to be the go-to unless they want to create like a different style of combination with like maybe Kaja and Eudora. But generally speaking, I personally am on the Farsa train. Yes, it may not necessarily do well. Oh, are we on Flying Clouds? Okay, we might be on Flying Clouds here, unless they're just going in with this blind.
Yeah, we might. The Rafaela and the... See, it's good... to deal with a pickup, but I don't think it's that good to deal with a... Because this is a poke comp, right? Like, I guess the healing helps you out, but in the late game, it's still glowing one. You're still gonna, I don't know about the sustained composition so far, because I feel like it's a bit greedy not revealing any of your carries later on, especially in the gold lane. I think the Claude and the Brody are certainly gonna be banned out here, and it gives the Novaria, Melissa now so much more room to play for. So for Hong Kong, China, they should really just start building for this composition. Now, did they pick up? I think they pick up a jungler here. I think it's greedy, but... Or Esme. It's either the Esmeralda to deal with the Uranus core. They pick up a jungler. The Harley that was banned out in game number 2 gets picked up. So it's all the frontliners revealed for Republic of Korea and all the damage dealers revealed for Hong Kong, China. Oh God, I love this.
This is real interesting. And where do they go with this? Because right now, like, I'm thinking of supports for Hong Kong, China, and they don't really feel that great. I mean, there's obviously the AoE problem that you got to deal with the Beleric, of course, but then what do you do? particular case, Cho is going to get punished by the Rafa unless they can get all the damage onto Rafa, which is pretty hard to do considering that Beleric is always going to be in your face. Displacement with Grok doesn't sound like the greatest idea. Same problem, you're going to get poked out. Is there any other like concussive?
Hey,
oh, Gothot is probably the only one
alive.
that kind of like sustain through the damage and still clear the waves relatively effectively. Aria, Baratz gets banned out for the side of Republic of Korea.
Whoa.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. They don't want to deal with the level 4s, especially around Turtles, if they want to play with like an early game comp.
You know what's crazy? I feel like this can be a Baksha XP.
Right?
If Hong Kong, China have seen it, right? Because like you're up against so much healing, you need some anti-regen. You have the poke, and it's probably a good matchup against the Uranus. It's old, it's very old, but it reminds me of like the M2 meta. We're seeing a lot of those Bakshas, right? Against the Yuzongs, against the Uranuses. Now with more healers, I really feel like it's going to be the Claude ban into the Baksha pickup and XP. Maybe they go red 5 Baksha though. They don't need to have it early. What do they need in? Oh, I think it's a Mathilda Baksha, bro. Could it be? Yeah, I thought it was gonna be the Claude. All right.
Okay, sure. Like, even if they did ban out Claude, there's still technically Clint anyways, but I think they would have rather deal with the Clint more than the Hayabusa, if I'm being completely honest here. But at the same time, since they don't have the supports, they could have leaned into the Cho as well as some to single target knock, to back people away. All right. So this next ban coming up for the side of Republic of Korea, what are they worried about? They've already got rid of the Baratz, which again, I thought was going to be a lot smaller of a problem. As long as you have Purify, you can kind of deal with it anyways, but they still don't want to have their playmaking capabilities. They get rid of the glue, another support pick that can generally fight on a dime, which kind of only leaves them right now with Cho and Got. Trainer that can kind of handle it. They got to take a risk here on EXP.
I think they go Mathilda here. They just go for the safe choice first. They go for something that can be, they can really help all the lanes, right? Even if you're losing out in these lanes, having the Mathilda there, you just get people back to a healthy amount of HP. But yeah, they still go for the Gatakacha, it seems. I really feel like we should be seeing a lot more Mathildas nowadays, man. But yeah, even against a Rafaela especially, right?
I get it into the Rafaela, but I think that unfortunately she just doesn't have like a good combination right now, right? Like Matilda, usually it's Matilda Uranus here, but like Matilda Novaria doesn't really necessarily help the lane. Like I think it's more so to punish laners early on, to like chunk them out, get their regenerates early on. But now that you're facing up against Rafa at level 2, it doesn't matter. So I think that this is probably their safest bet, I suppose, but I don't think there's an EXP laner that's going to save them. Maybe Terizla is the only like kind of early game engager that they have, and to lock them down long enough for Novaria to get shots off, potentially.
Could be. You were talking about the Terizla off camera. It was, I think, for us, pretty good. I think it can work. They go for the Moskov and the Suyo. I think it's a risky choice here against the Harley and the Novaria to go for the Suyo. No magic damage reduction anymore, but I guess they are trying to find ways to compensate for that with the Rafaela's. Revitalized Beleric depends again. We've been seeing a lot of those revitalized Belerics. But here we go. The moment, is it a Baksha or whoa. Yuzong would be crazy there. Like, I don't know. Yuzong would usually mean that you want to go for neutral objectives. The Harley doesn't really suit that playstyle. This one is a bit weird as well. The Dairoth, because once you go in, it doesn't really. You're kind of stuck. You need to win that fight, and doesn't it look like Hong Kong, China have a composition that really wants to go in. It feels more pokey, but hey, I guess we'll see. It seems like that's going to be the lock for Hong Kong, China. Dairoth for everyday kiss. Oh,
I mean, he better be nasty with this Dairoth. Like, he has to win the lane especially hard. He has to control the top side quadrant of the map. And even during team fights, like, there's a lot of things that are not going for him. Number one, it sucks against when you have to deal with the Beleric. Like, the Wrath of the Dryads is always going to be a problem. You have to somehow be in the middle of the fight and stick on your targets, even though there's Rafa on the opposite side constantly slowing you, constantly giving movement speed to the rest of the team, and a Moskov to knock you away. Like, he's probably going to get ganked a bajillion times, if I'm being real.
All right, man. And we're going to get into this game very, very soon, but don't you worry. Stay patient. Be patient with us, all right? We've seen some of these picks come through. I mean, at least we get another unique pick here, Gideon, right? That's another debut pick in the Dairoth. We've seen it in Indo as well. It was actually a win for them, but that was with a Paquito in the jungle, not a Harley. And so I really don't see the synergy right now, at least in the start of the game, right? Because it's the Novaria with the Harley doing magic damage. Even the Gatakacha really doing magic damage for the most part. And you have physical damage shred. So it looks to me like just a pick to win out lane. So yeah, exactly as you said, I think it's all about winning that lane. But even then, I don't think it's that big of a winning lane against the Uranus. It's more so a confirmed winning lane against Esmeralda. But we'll see how it plays out here as we get into game number 3. Now a guaranteed match point for either Hong Kong, China, or Korea. Parker on the Suyo. Whoa. Taking a very aggressive route this time around. Straight into the enemy jungle. He's going to go feast the golem.
This is great adaptation. Super great adaptation. They recognize in the past 2 games, Novaria doesn't take her first shot. Until later on after Harley has hit his level 2, only to help with the buff. So they know that he's going to be on that purple side. So they're going to steal all these small camps on the side lanes. And they don't know. HKG, unfortunately, they don't know that this is happening right now, that Parker is stealing away some important camps.
This is big. No level 4. That's confirmed right now by taking 2 camps, dude. Oh my lord. Wolf. Oh, he walks up. He's like, where the heck did my camps go? He checks both and both are gone. Oh my god, Parker. Dirty pathing here. But I mean, anything to get an advantage, man. 2 green camp advantage. He doesn't take the lizard. So if Hong Kong, China can find mid-prio, maybe they get it. Doesn't look like they can, though. The Rafaela and the Belleric doing so much, and Wolf has to go. Whoa. Everyday kiss. We know you're comfortable on the Dairoth, but damn, that's a flicker burnt out very early, brother man.
This is when I'm screaming from my jungle. Why aren't you here conveniently? He doesn't have his only disengage mechanic. I can bait him into another fight, I swear. Please trust me. But with mid-prior already gone here, some good shots here onto Leon. Once he gets low enough, that's when at least for Hong Kong should be able to start stealing away some of these camps. Ooh, Glazer doesn't connect onto the correct target, unfortunately, forcing a flicker out of Leon's side. Now Deadly Magic forcing Gowan to flicker as well. That's 2 battle spells down. Even a retribution from Parker as we look away from the fight for half a second. Immediately, first blood achieved by Wolf, and they're about to find another kill onto, of all people, Claire. Worst case scenario already for Korea.
The path was amazing. Confident to go for that brawl. Oh my god, Parker, you have to respect the magic damage, brother. You're up against so much of it, dude. Everybody there doing magic damage except for Kinson. Parker getting that push against Dairoth. I don't even think you win this, buddy. So he's got to play it safe now. That advantage after invading completely gone. It's actually now Hong Kong, China with the advantage. A kill each for both the carries, Kinson and Wolf. They go on to Moon Love You. Good with the passive. Now, whoa. Consecration used up early. Star Shadow landing on Gowan. The Holy Healing not enough to get it back into the fight, but the regen is there. Parker, whoa, Blade Surge onto the Turtle. He has a Soul Sever, now Everyday Kiss. The jump over on Garrus. Kinson's right there, Garrus! Picks up the kill and Everyday Kiss. Now the AOG. Point blank, that's who he lands. Parker with a Soul 7, the Retribution, able to pick that kill up as that's Wolf taken out by Leon. Oh, what is going on, man? It's both teams just going at it.
I don't understand. They need to make sure. The biggest problem right now is going to be Garrus in the early stages. Like Claire, okay, big deal if he throws the SOD. If it steals away your neutral objective, that's on you as the jungler. But like for Parker to be walking in on those fights like that and still being, thanks to his Rafa's passive, is still trying to keep in touch and actually has a level lead onto Wolf's side. It's so strange to see the trades actually happening in real time. Like HKG, they're winning out on a couple of these fights, but unfortunately, they're not getting enough of a lead to actually convert it into anything else relevant. Rhea on the opposite side, like, oh, he's taking damage, and finally they got a wombo combo here. Holy Baptism, Raptor drives into Blade Surge. They find one into Wolf and forces out the AOG coming out from China. Finally, we see Korea punch back.
I love the fact that they just keep on going for brawls even after losing in the bottom lane, because that's what the composition is built for. Oh god, a pinch. They know there's no go away. Kinson's coming, the Blade Surge, Purify out of there. Ian is able to get some of those shots. The Star Shatter nearly landing to take his life. But man, non-stop action for Korea. Again with this composition, they needed to go in for early action. They want to go for brawls. And for Hong Kong, China, way too greedy with the early lead they got, right? The early lead they got doesn't mean that their composition suddenly changes to an early game brawl comp. It still heavily relies on Kinson, Wolf, and Okimoji to scale up. But they forgot about that with that early lead, with those 2 kills in the bottom lane. They thought with those 2 kills, they'll be strong enough to fight this composition. Clearly see again that, yeah, they're not really respecting the damage potential, the threat, those ganks from Korea. They can play this game even without farm as long as Parker has the Blade Surge. It's a guaranteed stun, and I think a guaranteed flicker wasted for Everyday Kiss up top.
Yep, this Dairoth was a mistake. There's not a lot of synergy with Dairoth compared to the rest of the team. Like, he has some good armor strength, but nobody can take advantage of that other than Kinson. He's halfway across the world, and it looks like he might have to keep playing defensively. As Team Korea secures another turtle, the snowball has started ever so slightly, but considering how brawly these comps are and the execution hasn't been top-notch just yet, I think it could definitely still swing in anybody's favor.
It definitely could. The Holy Baptism. Yeah. All right. So it's just control. Oh, good steal by Okimoji, dude. So at least they get something back, and they still have the scaling, so it's not all over just yet. They lost out on some of those early win cons to try to stay even. They could have done that, but it's okay. 1,000 gold lead is still not the end of the road for Hong Kong, China, right? They can still scale up as long as it doesn't really start getting too crazy. I think if the snowball is lower than 3K, it's still manageable for Hong Kong, China.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. So 3K is the benchmark that we're looking for as the dive happens, Raptor Dryads, purified instantly, AOG to get the Kinson out of there as he's been playing a good defense against Claire after game 1 and game 2. Claire on the opposite side, he's not.
Don't take it, brother.
Listen to your inner demons. Oh, man. Looks like the inner demons don't win this time. The discipline is strong for Claire.
My mind's telling me no, but my body. Claire wanted it, bro. You can see it. You can see it. Even though we can't see his player cam, you can see that he wanted that kill on. It would have been a statement, brother. Right? But they still get the turret. Whatever. They cancel the recall on that. Kinson gets delayed even more. He loses a bit more minions, DHS. And yeah, it's just back to building this lead. It's now 2,000, so even more comfortable for Korea. For Hong Kong, China, they got to find ways to trade right now, and it's just looking very, very different. Oh, what a flag with the conceal. I can't believe it almost worked. That was a crazy ring around the rosy, man, for Leon. He gets... Oh, he actually uses the Wrath of the Dryad. All right.
Okay. I will say that Team Korea this time around, in game 3, they're not holding their ults back. They are very generous using their ults. Like Ihun and especially Gao has been using the Wrath of the Dryads. I mean, Wrath of the Dryads more conservatively, but that Holy Baptism, willy-nilly sometimes. They just throw it out in hopes that something happens here. Okay, Garrus in some trouble now they're on top of Parker. Leo maybe in some trouble forcing out the Revitalize coming in from Moon Love to buy the time that they were looking for. The Deadly Magic onto Garrus' side. He's going to be able to use the concentration to heal back up to full. Kinson and open up some space here. He has to go away from me, but doesn't want to use it just yet. SOD does connect, and so far the contention for the turtle, it's been 50-50. Both sides, trench warfare. They've set the battle lines.
They've baited so many abilities as well with Garrus and Holy Healing. Oh my god, that damage from Kinson onto the Moskov. Let's see it. Soul Sever ready. Queller in the Retribution secures it now with Wrath of the Dryad landing on 4. Massive combo. The Sky Piercer stacks going crazy as that's Parker with a triple. Looking for the Maniac now. He jumps in. Oh, the Soul Sever didn't land. Now he tries to charge the Queller. Lands it. Not enough damage. Now with the walk-up Maniac for Parker. It's game number 3. Now with the Queller landing. He wants the Savage. He can't get it. Okimoji will go walk back to base. But what a highlight by Parker on the Suyo.
Huge play coming in from Parker as well. Now he's got a dedicated snowball and a war axe already complete. So he can take quick trades, walk away, go to one of his neutral camps, clear it up, go back to full, and get back into that fight. Unfortunately for Kinson, just wasn't 100% sure about the cooldowns of Parker. Definitely shouldn't be walking up there. Honestly, probably would have still died underneath the turret, even if he tried to run away. At this stage of the game, you can't be making mistakes like those. Unfortunately, for the rest of the team from China, Ewan finds a major Wrath of the Dryads. And this is why I prefer Wrath of the Dryads with flicker rather than revitalize.
Agreed. I will never be a fan of revitalized Beleric, dude. There's too much green. I know you want to go green, but it's just too much, you know? Like, calm down, bro. It's okay. You have reactability already, even without the revitalize. Just having that engage tool so big, and there you have it again. The Wrath of the Triad right on cue as well. Massive damage. Get some zone for tier 2. Never want to see it again. Just never want to see this this tree on revitalize, bro. Right? Always flicker, please.
Because revitalize does nothing to you when you're falling further and further behind that game. Yeah, sure, but it helps maintain the lead rather than win these coin flip style of fights. And so far for China, unfortunately, they don't have enough of a lead to do much. 6K difference here between Korea as well as China. And Claire looks like the DHS is already bought. I'm pretty sure that's the end of his Trinity at this stage, if not second. But considering that he's level 11, I would assume that he's only on a second item, right? No. Vincent's doing too much damage. It's got to be Trinity.
I think so. I think it's Trinity here. He's been ahead of Claire for the longest time, even in lane, so should be. 10 minutes in. Makes sense for him to have that. He also almost bursted Claire earlier. A big fight. Wrath of the Triad again. Oh, the other gets taken down now, but look at the flank coming in from Garis. It's Claire with the damage. Blade Surge coming down. The respawn as well. Just for the Beleric. Oh, Queller finds a mark. So Sever. Does he get the second kill? But it's going to be Garis still able to survive against Kinson's damage. The Star Shatter is there, but the photo keeps them healthy now. Wolf walks up, or rather blinks in forward. Leon is back up again. It's Kinson with the poke. Ah, God, dude, this Rafaela, that respawn is just dirty.
It is. It's really dirty in these particular types of games. And obviously, it's not flying clouds, but still, as long as you're only trading 1-for-1, it's actually more beneficial for Korea, as long as they're not giving like fat shutdowns at the end of the day, which honestly, the majority of the shutdown right now is on Garrus and Parker. Everybody else is sort of like, okay, sure, you're going to get an extra 300 gold, but that's not going to matter. At the end of the day, when the gold lead is already getting close to the 10K mark. It's a 7.5K lead here for Korea. They've got the items. They've got the Trinity build. They're going into situationals. They've even got the Malefic Roar, so even the tanks can't even deal with it.
CE in the brute force, that new build for the Harley, just playing safe but no damage against Claire. Oh, Wrath of the Triad, the flicker combo together with Claire's SOD. The flicker in, and that's a win. Kinson all alone left to defend. Parker goes in through the go-away. Gets the Soul Saver, gets shut down in the end, but it don't matter. It's a wipeout for the Republic of Korea as they seal match point, and they're a game away for qualifying from East Asia for ENC.
We just got a different look at Team Korea, a new style. Well, I wouldn't even say a new style of play, but definitely a different facet that they've shown that they're capable of playing. And again, Parker, he played a strong game, but I got to give it to the rest of his team for not only setting it up, but playing around the tempo. They got comfortable. They felt that they started to get a little disrespectful towards the end, but they limited themselves. They're so highly disciplined in a lot of these fights. They don't jump in unless there's some guarantees, or at the very end when you're Parker and you're max stacked on Skypiercer, do what you like, King. Freestyle on them if you have to.
Man, that's what we've been missing all these games, man. Ian on the Beleric, making those plays. Certainly the MVP size. Did they try to copy the Republic of Korea's draft earlier by going for Uranus, or do they still stick to their main identity, right? Did they go back to the double marchment from game number 1 that actually got them their only win so far? And hey, if we're talking patterns, so far, this is exactly the way Republic of Korea were able to beat Hong Kong, China the first time around in the upper brackets of the qualifiers. But see, now it's a best of 5. That 2-1 don't matter. These are championship rounds. Grand final rounds that you're playing in Hong Kong, China. If they truly want to make it to ENC, they have to lock in. They have to show that they deserve to make it all the way to that main stage. Marcel ban. It seems like for 4 games in a row, though, Gideon, we're going to see this exact same heroes ban. Paquito and Atlas are the 2 bans that we need to complete the big 6.
I mean, is this a cardinal sin at this point? Like I mean, especially on blue side, like, come on. You gotta make red side ban it out there. It's such good picks. Like, I get if you ban one of them, like, okay, sure, you ban the hero, you purposely leave up the Freya for later down the line, right? And then, unfortunately for Republic of Korea, they're going to have to come up with a comp that deals specifically to that Freya. So that means you can actually set up another win scenario on the opposite side of the map if necessary. But last 3 seconds here, let's see. It's gonna be the Paquito, all right, and now Atlas on the opposite end.
Okay, that should be it, man. Unless, I don't know, I guess it's too easy to execute. That's why they think they need to ban these heroes out from the pool. Even Atlas. Well, I mean, on red side, it makes more sense to be banning Atlas, right? I feel like, especially for Hong Kong, China, these 3 bans should be on red instead of blue for a lot of these, choices for Hong Kong, China. I gotta question it. Here we go, Republic of Korea. It will be the big 6 banned out again. We're back to the same old picks, and we're just gonna go on the rotations of the same picks again. So again, Uranus first pick, Beleric first pick. We've seen those. We've even seen Melissa, but I think the Melissa has been countered a couple of times already, so you may not want to pick it up here. We can see the Brody Red 3 as well for Republic of Korea. They're in a tough spot, not going to lie. I don't even know what they need to prioritize right now. Hong Kong, China.
I think they just take the Uranus. Keep it simple. Take the Uranus on your side, and then you may not necessarily get the Novaria, but at this stage, unless you're trying to go for Novaria first pick and then save the Uranus, you're going to have to give up on one of the priority options in one of these big lanes. And so far, the weakest opening that we've seen is the Beleric. So I would hope that Hong Kong, China avoids that at this point of time. They go for the Uranus, one of the stronger openers that we've seen so far between the teams. This should be Novaria +1 on the opposite end.
All right. Yeah, I don't think they'll go for the greedy move, the Novaria Melissa. I think we saw that earlier, and that's why, yeah, I think one of them would suffice. I think the Novaria takes Prio over the Melissa. There you go. And then they go for Beleric. There you go. Novaria and the Beleric. Red 3 should be Melissa, right? Because Hong Kong, China are technically countered by it already, by the Novaria. But, God, this is tough now. They're put in a tough spot. Coach Panda, that experience is really helping Republic of Korea out. That's why they just go for the Rafaela. They try to go for that sustained comp that Republic of Korea did so well with, but without a Beleric, Gideon. That's the thing. They take it away, and Ian on the Beleric, that's definitely a flicker. That's definitely crazy plays that he's looking for already.
Yeah, and fortunately, going for the single target, it might be a little difficult, especially with the Wrath of the Dryads as a means to kind of cancel the second half of Cho's Way of the Dragon. Unless they've got like a different pick, maybe even like a Badang, not the worst. It has some degree of sustain, but mainly as a natural setter. And his early game damage is actually pretty relevant. Glue, even better, one step ahead of me, in a matter of fact, as a means to kind of punish this Beleric, and also as a means to be able to consistently fight pre-level 4.
Okay. So the Glue gets... This should just be an instant Melissa, dude. I don't really think they should think about it too much either, right? Because the Glue also, you're talking about it, it's very, very bad against the Melissa. You pop the go away, and it's just insta anti-mount for the Glue. There you go. They hover on the Melissa. This should be the pick. They ban out the Brody that has won over the Melissa so many times. But this time, maybe they even take away the Claude, right? Kinson earlier was countered by the Moskov. So maybe Korea bans both. Oh, not both, but like maybe they ban Moscow over the Claude, because technically the Claude is still more difficult to utilize over the Moskov.
Well, it really comes down to their options, to the options that are available. I think it's kind of on the onus of the Republic of Korea to actually ban out some of the bigger picks. I think Brody for sure, but then the +1 can kind of be anything. If you get rid of the Claude, then it's Clint that's going to show up. If you get rid of the Clint, then it could just still be the Moskov even. So now they're attacking the jungle instead to make sure that, sure, you have a strong mid trio and a strong side on EXP, but the bottom half of the map, we got to make sure that your jungler isn't able to participate in these fights.
Okay. So what choice do they go for now? Both jungles haven't been picked up, but Republic of Korea, the reason they're banning it out is because they have Red 4, right? So they can snatch the only other jungler available. So Hong Kong, China's got to be very careful if they actually want to start banning out junglers. They're going to be the ones that are punished more than Korea here, especially considering I think we've seen just way more picks from Parker in the 2 games that he's played two different picks. It's and 2 very different play styles on those picks. The Hayabusa and then the Suyo. The Esmeralda gets banned out. I think there's still a lot of heroes in the XP lane. As long as Republic of Korea don't go for the Dairoth, I think they're good. Let's see. I think they should get rid of Brody at least, right? If they don't want to get rid of the Claude Moskov, they ban Harley instead. Brody feels like a hero that you just need to deal with here. Unless they're... Yeah, no. Especially if Parker wants to get his hands on his signature assassins, it should just be the Brody. Then last man from Hong Kong, China. I'm thinking about it.
I'm thinking about what it is here, because technically, if we're talking about like the early stages, the Brody finally gets banned out. But I'm more so. Republic of Korea understood that Parker was going to get the Suyo when they were playing the Rafa comp. I think that Hong Kong, China might be able to set up a very similar scenario. So I think the Republic of Korea has got to, unfortunately, might need to take the Suyo just so that Hong Kong, China doesn't have like early game junglers who have no means of getting punished. I think that forces them back on the Nolan. That forces them back onto maybe even a Hayabusa. Actually, it wouldn't matter at that stage. They all have early game at that point. So really, it's just what are they setting up for?
That's a good question. I guess we'll have to find out here. I still think for Hong Kong, China, they should get the Claude pickup. It's good against the Navaria as well, right? When you're fully stacked in the team fight, it's going to be very hard to land those skill shots onto a Claude. Crazy mobility. You have to blink as well to get past the Melissa. You do well in lane. It's just, the question is Kitson comfortable on the Claude? Because both teams haven't really shown the Claude. It's even Moskov that Claire went for earlier to beat the Melissa instead of the Claude that we usually see. We see the Choban in case Republic of Korea wanted to flex the Belleric. I guess, Hong Kong, China are still seeing the Belleric pick as a flex into XP. We've seen that a couple of times as well. The Hayabusa is what's picked up. Red 4 for a jungler after banning out the Harley. The Yi Sun Shin, it's more of Hong Kong, China trying to lead back into the first game picks, right? That won them a game in the series. So Wolf on the Yi Sun Shin again. They got the vision, but you got to remember in game number 1, it was with the Navaria. They had so much more vision over their opponents. This time, you only have the Yi Sun Shin. You don't have anything else. This Navaria, if it scales up, will be a big problem for the Yi Sun Shin. You're taken out of the fight instantly. And now to wrap the draft up, it should just be a Claude. But I have a feeling they're going to go off here for Kinson, maybe again, because Claude's just more difficult to pull off, dude. They're taking their time, though. So, this might just be Kinson out of comfort. Yeah, they rely on pure comfort is what I think this is, right? The Irithel, we haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, we haven't seen it in a hot second here, but it's not the greatest matchup in the world, unfortunately. And now, on the opposite end, what's it going to be for EXP? They're looking for something like... They basically admitted that, like, okay, Uranus is going to win this lane no matter what. So what do we really need? We need team fight tools. We need to be able to kind of keep that pressure up. They could go for the Barats still if they really wanted to, but I like the idea of like, you know what? We don't necessarily have to play the Barats, right? Instead of going for one guy, what if we go for all of them? And I think that Sora, not a bad option overall, especially since he's able to take Concussive Blast, has some low cooldowns, able to trade out pretty heavily against the
clouds are ever shifting
too badly, but most importantly,
steadfast.
he can keep up with the Uranus.
I think this is amazing, dude, because now Kinson and Wolf, either way, they're cooked. They're layers upon layers of CC right now, right? And to add on to the synergy, it's the hitbox that's going to be so big for the rest of the team for Republic of Korea. So it's even easier for Ian, for Garrus to land these sets as they get hit by an Astral Echo. They don't go Purify still. They go for Sprint. They go for Flicker. This will be tough. If they don't get the early lead, Gideon, I feel like Republic of Korea, they've done it in the draft here.
Yeah. Oof. Oh, I mean, I'm looking at these comps one last time and I'm thinking like the only out that I can see happening is early to mid game between Uranus and Glue. They got to make like a lot of things occur within the matchup itself. And I think that's going to be like something that we have to keep an eye out, because on the opposite end, Novaria's job is pretty simple, but you can hit as many shots as you want, but if Glue is blocking them, specifically with his little globules, he takes no damage from it, which is kind of bull, but hey, spaghetti code, it happens.
We'll see if Hong Kong, China has the execution to pull this one off. Or if Korea takes the entire series. It can be a repeat of what happened in the upper brackets of the qualifiers earlier on in the rounds. Here we go. Possibly the final game of this grand finals for the qualifying spot, the only one for East Asia. Wolf, Yun won. Wait a second. I just realized there's a substitution in XP.
Interesting. Wasn't 100% sure about that or whether I was just seeing things, but looks like it is going to be a substitution here for the side of Hong Kong China's team. Now, early game, as expected, you're seeing the fast clears happen. They figured out that already on that purple buff side, starting with a partial clear, not a full clear on this bottom end. The opposite side for Team China, we can see that Yi Shin is starting on green camp, immediately moving over to purple. So they're going to end up on opposite sides of the map. And I'm actually down for this, right? Because it feels like they just need a little bit of help to get Garrus out of this lane, and then they basically win neutral objectives, assuming that Hong Kong can't take first position.
Okay, so at least Gao's going to play it safe in the mid lane. To be expected, the Lizard will be taken away by Wolf. Here you go. At least on the Eastern Shin, you do clear really, really fast, right? So you can rotate around with the help of the Glue and the Rafaela, Prio in the mid lane to steal camps away. Right now, Parker is actually struggling to get level 4. Not going to be able to get it. Kinson in the bottom lane actually winning up against the Melissa, which is surprising. And they go for the guy straight up. Now Wolf unable to get the last shot, but they bait out the flicker. That's massive in the mid lane now with Parker, who finally gets level 4. The Star Shatter doesn't land. And this will be an XP advantage for Wolf as he clears out the entire bot side jungle that he hasn't even touched yet.
Longer trades, Kinson, as long as he's not in between Melissa and Muddles, is able to actually win out those trades, especially since both of them are going for that quantum charge, just to make sure, you know, they can sustain a little bit. But the extra movement speed here is what's really making the difference for Kinson, right? As soon as he's able to kind of like move around and, you know, hide around the Melissa, he's also getting his passive back up to get the extra auto attacks in. So for Claire, it's understandable, but at the same time, Claire cannot give up these types of positions in Kinson in lane. If not, he's going to get zoned out like we're watching right now. And as we look at the turtle, maybe a man down, but this is kind of all or nothing.
A whole level ahead, dude. There's no way. Wolf just gets it for free with the Mountain Shocker as well. They knew where the Hayabusa was. It's now up to Kinson to know where he's at. Parker, can he land the quad shadow? No, he can't. Heavy crossbow. Kinson winning in the matchup against Claire and really able to stay safe. Wow. Flicker, by the way, is the choice. He swapped that out late into the draft from Sprint. And I think it is the better choice over the Sprint against these centers, right? I still think the Purify was something that they definitely had to think about, but man, wait a second. Wolf is really abusing Parker's, you know, wasted rotations to punish. He's going to be 2 levels ahead if he gets this. Garrus walking up. The Retribution coming out. Shifting skies. Oh, Parker's able to land the quad shot now with the shadow kill. That's going to CC. Immune in the skies. First blood. The respawn gets him back, but that means Korea, Parker, will be able to stop that snowball from happening.
He's trying to even up the score right now. He managed to get at least 1 EXP crab for himself, but he's technically still 2 green camps down. So unfortunately for him, it's going to take a little bit of time if he wants to try and snowball this out of control. But this is leading from what happened down in the bottom lane, right? All of this is stemming from this problem right now that Kingston, having a pretty decent matchup, and not only has won the lane convincingly against Claire, but he's just waiting for timings to continuously trade against Claire.
Yeah. We definitely see how comfortable Kinson is on the Irithel here, winning it out against the Melissa. Now they try to go for it. Parker, so they're Rapid Dry, able to lock people down. That's with the Astro Echo, and now the Shadow Kill with Claire. Popping the Muddles, finding the kill, and all of a sudden that lead is looking not as juicy anymore for Hong Kong China. They're trying to force out these engages, trying to force out these advantages in the early game, and it's just not working out. I think with the initial lead, they should just try to play chill and rely on neutral objectives, Gideon. They're getting way too hasty.
I don't know. That was just silly. Like, you should know better. You should know better. He has Flicker. He has Wrath of the Dryads. As soon as you Traceless, you're like, you're in some big trouble. You're expecting even to actually int in these moments, but now it's full 5v5. They managed to get right on top of Parker here. However, in the back line, we already see that Sora able to get his ult off in time. Wolf secures the turtle at this point in time. Kinson trades against him, and they managed to get 2 in the process. No casualties on the side of Team China, but Korea will be walking away with this turtle. Claire now double waving with the help of Gaon, but these neutral objectives, they got to be careful. Once again, this glue, a little bit of an issue.
And it's Moon Love You with the massive play, jumping on Parker, really just zoning him away, forcing Parker to go in, either risking his life for the neutral objective and dying, or not even getting the neutral objective and dying straight up. So Korea now they're back to farming it up. Hong Kong, China, again, we kind of knew that in the neutral objectives, they would still win. And that's why we said it was pretty silly that they try to go for these advantages pre-neutral objective. So as long as they play with this, they should be able to build past that comfortable spot for Korea to scale up. Again, now 3,000 gold ahead. That's the sweet spot for Hong Kong, China anymore. And I think they've basically just gotten the game back into their hands. Now it's all about conversion. Now it's all about how the team uses the advantage to get even more structures. Oh, you hate to see it. Wrath of the Dry to the Flicker. Now the Star Shadow landing as well. Baits out the Flicker at least from Kinson. But that should have been a kill. That should have just been it. Unfortunately, the first time Ian with a micro mistake.
They need to start getting some pressure over the mid lane. Now that they've already shown the Uranus here, a majority of the Korean members are thinking like, we need to start moving away. There's no way we're taking this tier 1. And now the interception is about to be in place, but luckily at the very least, Korea decides to call it off. There's no point going for this any further. Let's just double wave. If not, let's look for maybe the tier 1. They have to play this math.
And look at Wolf. This is what you get when you have someone like Uranus in the XP lane, right? Especially as a carry. Wait, they go Shifting Skies. Good CC immunity. Still, they'll go for the Astral Echo, the Star Shatter as well. 2 ultimates for Glue. Ain't really worth it. But I guess that's what they can find. Up top, though, to finish my point earlier, when you have a Uranus, when you have these enablers in XP, you just give the entire wave after minute number 5 to your jungler. And this is what has given Wolf the advantage. Oh, you definitely don't want that to happen, but hey, it's okay. As long as it's still part of your team that secures the neutral objective. But yeah, 2 levels ahead. Still comfortable for Wolf. Very comfortable.
Yep, very technical game here. We're looking for like very, very small punishes and honestly nitpicking at some. But now that they've gotten the tier 1s down, does he get it? Parker, he tries his best, and it looks like he was able to secure it with his own retribution. Orange buff in the bag, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still a 2-level lead. And Wolf, he doesn't mind Parker using the retribution early. It just means that he's not going to have it for later, or he's not going to have it if he happens to see him in his own jungle when he goes for the full clear. At this point, it is a very long and arduous process for Korea to actually come back into a reasonably stable game. Without those tier 1s, it's going to be a lot harder for the Melissa to actually walk up in the lane because there's just so much more space of which you can get run down. And being the insurance policy of the squad, you generally don't want to die.
Nope. But being 2 levels down is very difficult to pull off. This Melissa, you're really good when you're able to get some of those items, but this position is just, again, very, very difficult. It's also very tough because their front line isn't really frontlining that well right now, right? Ian is behind. They can shred him down quite easily with the Rafaela and Glue. They can go for anybody in the front as well. And Claire, yeah, without the items is very, very chopped as of now. Good moves. At least they don't die. Wolf, though, goes the Mountain Shocker. Luckily, didn't land on Claire. Could have been a flicker burnt out. Big resource. Whoa, Parker. That's a quad shadow. The Astral Echo is there as well. They're trying to go for the kill with the shadow kill. It's close. Oh my god. I thought he was going to go for the angle on Will, but instead he shoots it on Yun1 with the flicker. Does he get out? Okay, he does.
I don't like this. I don't like the way that they're trying to make this happen. Wait, hold on. The conceal comes through. He gets revealed straight away. Star Shadow actually lands, including the Holy Baptist, and slow down the flicker into the Wrath of Drides. Captures it. Now the Cloud Shift gets set up perfectly, forcing 2 flickers out from their carries. They're blasting them down one by one, but unfortunately for Garrus, doesn't get the second half of that Cloud Shift to be able to start punching down and slowing down the members. Battle spells out of the way. Ogi's Shadow Kill didn't get used. Parker in trouble. Wolf wants this trade, and he's willing to shut himself down for it. Parker able to get a huge Sky Piercer stack and might end up dying here over to Kinson. In long term, it didn't work out the way they wanted to, but the heavy crossbow has been used underneath the turret. Claire forced the flicker away, yet somehow Korea, they found an ideal way to trade back, but even so, Hong Kong, they did come at a cost.
It ended up, I mean, it's still a bad trade for Hong Kong, China, but it ended up pretty good for Korea, right? Like, they're able to delay the game. The lead still stays. There were no shutdowns, unfortunately, for Korea because the lead has been mainly through neutral objectives and structures, but it bought them more time to scale up. Player had to use the flicker, and now this should just be a give over on the neutral objective. They don't have the flickers. They don't have the resources to actually go in and go for another set. It really relies on Ian and Garrus to have flickers to be able to go in, but at least, again, they're able to buy some time. Lord gets taken away. They get a trade up pop. There's something back, and they're scaling up. Claire finally completes the Warrior Boots, has more defensive capabilities to deal with the shred physical of Hong Kong, China. Claire is already in a comfortable spot at 10 minutes. He was able, or last games, Kinson was able to get the 3-item power spike over at 10 minutes. Now for Claire, does he even have it? Wolf taking a turret tier 2 down below. Again, putting it away. The golden staff not built just yet. And it's almost a 2,000 gold advantage for Kinson. He has been zoning them away as well. They're going to have to give this tier 1. With 2 marksmen, Gideon, these turrets are going to start falling so easily.
I think the game is done once Kinson gets the Haas call, right? Because the problem now is just sustaining through the constant like attacks coming in from Gaon, and arguably the chip damage that comes from Claire when he throws muddles out, and you so happen to be caught at the edge of it. Now the lightning truncheon is out, so it really emphasizes the point that Kinson needs to sustain. But I think that Hong Kong China now recognizes that they have the better position. Cloud Shift already out here. There's trying to get out flickers away. Rather than Dryad connects onto all 4. Watch Shadow in. Ogi Shadow kill, hoping for a kill. Wolf able to kill Ion at this stage of the game, and Kinson able to power through. Luckily, RNG in his favor.
Hero plays for Korea. Star Shatter landed, but unfortunately not enough to take Kinson down. Again, though, the lead stays at 6,000 just because there is no bounty on anybody. They go on Yun 1. He's good. He still has the flicker. There's no way for them to deal enough damage to take him down just yet. But at least Arthur is able to get his purple buff again this time around. Man, it's just hero plays time and time again. From Garrus, from Ian, Flicker, and the Wrath of the Dryad. Hong Kong, China, they need to be very careful. The Astral Echo, it really deceives you, man. Like, you're not expecting those sets to land flush, even when you're barely out of range. You still get hit because of the hitbox, and it's so scary with the front to back comp with 2 marksmen.
Yeah, no, it's especially oh, outshift once again. Now that it's already out, is there anything to fight over on the map? And it looks like really it's just for the waves and some little bit of tempo. Wait, hold on. All right, Holy Baptism out. Ian is taking way too much damage. Wrath of the Dryad is out, and now Yum can start peeling. Kinson, he's looking for a backline access here. He's thinking about the heavy crossbow, but he's also scared that maybe Garrus could stop him at this stage. Now that Ewan is gone, they had an opportunity. They didn't know where Parker is, and now that they figured it out, Kinson, he's waiting for somebody to make a mistake, especially Gaon. If he just walks a little bit further up. Now they dance once again.
Whoa. Goes in onto Parker of all people. It's okay. It's good. It's able to bait out the quad shadow. 10 seconds for the Lord. There should be another free one here. Unless, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think Korea will try to go for the contest. They do have the setting tools, but they should also be aware that the flickers are up on the side of Hong Kong, China. They should be aware that they have a Novaria and a Melissa. This front to back gets broken through Hong Kong, China, looking for those angles. Again, with no turrets, it's much easier now for Hong Kong, China to be able to flank. So playing it safe, playing around the Novaria and Melissa, just defending, I think is the better decision to make. It's not an Evolve Lord just yet, right? You can actually still keep all your base turrets alive here. Yes, there are 2 marksmen, but you have great clear with the Melissa and Novaria.
I think right now it's about the engagement tools, right? They keep using Cloud Shift on Garrus every single time as a means to kind of start the fight, just to make sure, you know, battle spells get caught off. I really think that Ewan should just chill for just a little bit, flicker Wrath of the Dryads, and let Garrus go into that lightning form. I think they need an opportunity, because it really comes down to, can you get some backline damage to kind of separate them rather than trying to make the big sets? With so many flickers, it's kind of impossible at this stage, so they kind of need to burn it out first. So first engagement, Thunderform into the Wrath of Dryad, flicker trades, and then second engagement, that's when Garrus should be looking to go for a flicker Cloud Shift.
Melted gun completed for Kinson. Oh! Just as we say, the shifting skies now. Coming in from Garrus, Astral Echo, Lay Parker. Caught in the bad spot now. Wolf gonna go in with a Mountain Shock, a Retribution as well. Picking up the kill as he goes on a killing spree. Ian finally able to get the Wrath of the Dryad. That's gonna be Immortality by for Kinson. Buy and sell is legit. It's on point, but he still dies before the immortality came through. They got good clear, but if they got killed before the Lord base, it's GG. They still are able to clear out the wave in the bottom lane. Now wave in the mid lane is going to be respawning back in 10 seconds as Ian is right there. Waves coming in, and it will be game 5 in our East Asia Grand Final qualifier.
And they push it back against Team Korea. They're not discouraged. They're just looking for another opportunity, and they managed to find this pocket pick. Kinsun coming out big time, finding the snipe onto Claire. It really has been an interesting battle between both of these gold lanes. Like, it has been very interesting to watch them, not only in the lanes, but the team fights, because God, you can definitely tell that both Kinsun and Claire are looking at each other despite 4 other members running around.
What happened up top? Claire, why was he so far out? How did he get picked off? One shot basically by Kinsun. Hey, it's a signature pick. It wasn't the best matchups. It wasn't a meta pick. It's just a pocket pick that they brought out in game 4 when everything was on the line, and it worked out for Kinsun. Back again to their identity. The double marksman seems to be their most comfortable strat getting. And I think at this point in game number 5, Korea might also have to go back to comfort instead of playing this Navaria Melissa. Now we've seen it twice. Once from the hands of Hong Kong, China. The second time here in the hands of Republic of Korea. Navaria Melissa failing again, despite it being such a big prio pick in the meta. Both. My lord. We're going to game 5, man. If this was a best of 3, Korea would have already qualified. That already happened in the qualifier stage for the upper brackets. And now we're seeing these grand final rounds, these ENC rounds.
It's true. It's true. And honestly, like, I'm thinking back at these comps, like, naturally I'm leaning into very much, you know, the tried and trues in the picks that the Republic of Korea got. But then you start to think about the synergies here, especially with the Irithil alongside with the Rafa. The extra movement speed on top of the heavy crossbow is also like just a good way to kind of dodge like a majority of the abilities, assuming that Ewan isn't able to land the flicker Wrath of the Dryads, or even Garrus doing the exact same thing. But that's the issue, right? I think that it just comes down to whether or not the Republic of Korea is confident enough to actually go in for these bigger engage. Because if you take away all the frontliners, the backliners from the side of Hong Kong, China, unfortunately scales just a little bit better in a lot of scenarios. And that's why I'm thinking whether Republic of Korea, should they have used the lead that they developed when they are in these 5v5s, should they have said, you know what, instead of Cloud Shift, we need Thunderform. We need Thunderform to bait out spells so that Ewan can go on to make that flicker play.
Yeah, I think early on, maybe going for the Thunderform would have been great, but towards the end there, I think it was just, they got scaled past already, right? Like the Wind of Nature was already there. Maybe go for the Thunderform, could have still baited the Wind of Nature, but at that point, it's just very, very difficult, and we're going to have to get into game number 5 to see which one of these countries makes it to the main stage of ENC. We're going to get into a short break before that final game.
Nothing in this world that's stopping me. My Rari outruns your Odyssey. I broke it off cause I'm not settling. I gotta get for the lip, but you're cutting me. Ain't nothing in this world that's stopping me. My Rari outruns your Odyssey. I'm balling, they pay me attention. Going up hydraulic suspension.
Never young green light, let's go. No amber, no red, go low. Come here with a stop sign, go home. Never young green light, green light, green light. Never young green light, let's go. No amber, no red, go low. Come here with a stop sign, go home.
I think there's just no reason to really change, considering that we haven't really seen the pocket picks come out of Korea's side anyways. So China, they don't mind it. They are the ones who have set the tone in terms of like the weird picks that they're able to go for and still execute it at a high level, or at least find the opportunities to really punish the Republic of Korea to get back into the games. And it's happened 2 times already, right? Expecting a 3rd time, honestly, not that difficult. But at the same time, the real question is whether the Republic of Korea has a way to kind of adjust against it, or are they looking at each other saying, we've already won the draft, we just have to make sure we clean up our gameplay, and then this should be a pretty easy one and done.
I guess we'll see. Again, whenever we come into the banning phase, it just feels like there's not much to talk about because they just keep on going for the same bans, especially in
what's your
Game 5.
command?
That's the
Your
Fanny.
team is
The Hirata
banning.
was banned earlier. Now we're just waiting for the Paquito and the Atlas to finally see what's prioritized. At least from game number 4, it feels like Hong Kong, China should go for the same approach, at least for first pick. It's a good blind Uranus, right? But after that, that's where we should see some adjustments because if you leave those two jungle and gold comfort picks for the second phase again, I think Republic of Korea are just going to be happy banning it out instead
Punch for
of
a
leaving it open
punch.
again. That's the
Your
Paquito.
team
The
is
Atlas should come
banned.
through. And again, the big dilemma is just, should they pick Yi Sun Shin and Irithel early, or do they go for the same route?
Oh, tough calls. Really, really tough calls. Personally, I think there's even an argument to let the Atlas through at this stage so you can kind of change up what the mid lane can go for, right? You go for something like the Valentina, then you actually have like a legitimate trade to have. Oh, Uranus, finally! We get something different! Oh my god! We finally get something different. No. No, please, dear
There's
God.
no for the evil
Why?
side.
Why not go for Barats instead of your first pick at this point? Up, it's fine. They still get the
Yeah.
Rafa. It doesn't matter what map it's on. Like China is willing to whip it out at any point in time.
I guess the Rafaela technically counters the Barats, but the Atlas is still available, and they can still keep the Barats for later for Red 3, right? They can just go for Atlas Valentina right now, or
Mhm.
maybe just straight up Atlas Melissa, right?
Mhm.
There's already a Rafaela there. I think it's going to be mid lane. I mean, so far it's been mid lane for Okimoji. If you force the Rafaela to go roam, I think they're just basically going to be too squishy, and you can actually take control over the early game. But they go for the double CC instead. They go for the Atlas Barats. There you go. They're not expecting this Rafaela to go into roam. It's going to be a mid lane. They're assuming the Rafaela is going to go. And to answer our questions, they go for the Yi Sun Shin early. Not with the Irithel, though. They still stick to a little bit of the meta. So Rafaela and the Belleric with the Yi Sun Shin here, and this should just be the Melissa pickup for Republic of Korea.
Great drafting from the Republic of Korea, because at this point it puts China in a really awkward spot. It's like now your Rafa as a blind pick was supposed to be your more flexible option, whether it goes into the mid, whether it goes into the support, either or would have been fine. But they would have to either give up on their support option in Belleric or their EXP option. And it looks like China just said, you know what, we're just going to give up on our EXP option. We're going to have to save that for later. And Republic of Korea don't even go for the Melissa. They're going to start banning it this time by giving Claire his comfort hero. And these should all be marksmen at this point, right?
Wow, yeah. Damn, they're really trying to go for the early game, but we do have some information. Brunei able to close it out with a comeback score of 7-18, 2-0 in that grand final against Vietnam.
Nice. That means Brunei, they're going to be punching in their slot to head on into the main event of ENC itself. Big congratulations to Brunei. It has been a very long time coming to see them back on an international stage, but they've done it before, and they're going to keep on doing it again. I like the scene being competitive.
And now it's back to this early game. So far, it's been the case, Gideon. It's been whoever wins the early game ends up just stomping through. I don't know. Maybe having just that failsafe would have been a bit better. No, the Brody gets picked up here, and they ban out the Esmeralda. So they're taking away all of the picks. They can actually still deal with the Barats. I like it. But still, we have to see where this Belleric goes. The reason Belleric is so good in the meta is because of that flex potential, and you can still put it against the Barats. If you need somebody, just take that chomp in.
The unfortunate part of it is that, yes, it is flexible, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know. It's useful for the neutral objectives, and you have access, which is always nice, but then you're going to come into the problem of like wave clear. So begs the question whether or not, if he goes into the EXP, and we're assuming, because we haven't seen Rafa go into the support position for China, that is going to be their mid laner, they're still going to need something that can actually, eventually clear those waves. I'm thinking about even marksmen. It's still going to be a bit of a struggle once we get past level 15. Sorry, the 15-minute mark, not level 15.
And now it's the Harley that gets banned out. I'm wondering now if they're taking so long because they're thinking about the Irithel ban, right? Something that definitely should come up right now, something that they have to think about, because it was deadly. I mean, the Brody shouldn't have those problems, but we thought the Melissa wouldn't have those problems either against the Iritho. I think it was just comfort that got them the win in the matchup. So
Let's go.
they do. I like it. I like the respect. They needed to give a little bit more of that respect. So it's back to normal. Now I think the Melissa still is a great pick. It's good against the Atlas, against the Barats as well. Just poke them down before the fight. It's only a question mark when you go up against the Brody, because Claire and Kinson both have done better when they've gotten their hands on the Brody. Even if they don't do better in lane, they do better in these team fights. So let's see. The Nolan gets banned out. So at least now it will also be Parker limited. But I think it'll just be a signature Hayabusa to come out again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Hayabusa again. Unless they want to get really wild.
Suyo?
if Korea wants to get really, really wild, they go like, I mean, I want to say Suyo, but at the same time, like Belleric is always going to be a problem. What about Martis here?
Ooh. I don't know.
It's like super dangerous because again, it kind of
is.
fulfills the goals that both Atlas and Barats already want to do by themselves. It's just now that you're like heavily dedicated to the early game, and knowing how Korea's been drafting, they generally want to have a nice even spread across the board.
They go for the Suyo. Oh, red for Suyo and the Brody with the Atlas and the Barats. This is an early game composition. They want the early game, and it's the Alice that is a pretty still very good hero up against Barats, even against the Atlas and against the Brody especially, by the way.
Will it grant immortality?
What do they ended up with? I think the Melissa just works. The Claude is also okay, but I think the Melissa should guarantee a safe fur lane in goal over the Claude.
I think no matter, like, even if they go for Moskov, it's not the worst thing in the world. No matter what they're playing, it's going to be a general tough matchup. You could get Melissa for the sake of the lane as well, but you need a Trinity Builder, unfortunately. You kind of don't have a choice in that matter. With a Trinity Builder, you'll be able to get through these tanks a lot easier, and more so, force the tanks to unfortunately diversify their build. Bruno as an answer. Okay. All right, sure. It's going to be a lot easier for the tanks to actually itemize at this point, but we need diversity from the side of the Republic of Korea. They need their magic damage. Unfortunately, I don't know. There's not too many good picks. Like, I want to say Farsa, but at the same time, it's like they've got easy ways to cancel out the Feathered Airstrike.
No way. If we're going crazy, might as well go all the way. Nana is being hovered over.
Come on.
This
is good. This is good.
They go for the safe Vixana. It makes sense, but a part of me just really wanted to see something crazier, man. Then the Bruno, right? Because the Bruno is the craziest pick so far out of all these picks. We've seen the Suyo, we've seen the Brody, the Yisun Shin as well. The Alice and the Bruno with the Vixana. Those are the unique heroes in game number 5. Now, can these heroes be the difference maker in game 5? It's now or never. It's back 1. None of the previous games will matter this game. You're going to have to do it. Lock in, forget, reset. Makes it to the main stage of ENC.
They better get their passports ready, because both of these teams, they are going to have to take a very long journey if they qualify for ENC right now. And the laning phase is kind of everything. It really is kind of everything. I think that this Vexana pick is so good. So very good. Deals with the tanks. If you happen to catch the Rafaela, what is she going to do, right? And not to mention that it also, at this stage of the game with Atlas available, Bruno unfortunately had to take Purify instead of Flicker. But quick updates for those of you who are wondering about the Brunei situation. It's a 2-0 victory for Brunei as they punch their tickets to ENC.
I'm just getting prepared right now, brothers. Yo! Give us your predictions in the chat right now. I know people already hyped for this matchup. We've seen it all. The journey to make it a game number 5. Now, are you team Republic of Korea or Hong Kong, China? Leave your support in the comment section down below in the chat, because currently it is 2-2. It is a nail-biter game. And I say it like that because, damn, it's just completely different to game 1 already, Gideon. Like, we've seen the trajectory, we've seen the differences in the drafts of priorities as well, where the Melissa was prio to completely forgotten, to it being countered, to now not even seeing the Novaria going straight up early game gamble for Korea, and Hong Kong, China back to their comfort. Bruno, Yisun Shin now.
Yep. Again, late game is going to get a